3.5 amp hour 24-volt battery with every kit purchase. Grab a rear handle saw kit with a free 10 amp hour battery for just $299. Power up with Flex at Fasteners Tool Outlet. Don't miss it this Saturday, July 15th at 6701 Power Inn Road. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTK-AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Lott with your Sactown Sports headlines. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that the Boston Celtics center Kristaps Porzingis had signed a 2-year, $60 million extension with the team. The Celtics acquired Porzingis in a 3-team trade that sent guard Marcus Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies. Celtics will now have Porzingis under contract through the 25-26 NBA season. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has announced its semifinal nominees for the 2024 class, and 2 former 49ers have made the list. Former Niners running back Roger Craig and former Niners head coach George Seifert will both have the chance to make it to Canton next year. For more on the possible Hall of Famers, check out Sactown Sports 49ers insider Emil Fregosa's story on SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Now let's get to Whitey and Watkins.
They're going to take it for a W.
At your desk, on your phone, in the car. It's a show specifically for you, Sacramento. Whitey.
She got a new song out of this anyway. Hoops, I did it again. So that's right. Hello, is this on?
No, Watkins.
I'm sorry. I know I don't want to be the wet blanket on everybody.
It's Whitey and Watkins, and it starts.
Hurry up!
Now.
What a glorious day. I mean, Thursday to me already is a vastly underrated day. I think Thursday's arguably the best day of the week just because it's right before the weekend and there's that anticipation. I love Thursday.
Friday Eve?
Yeah, exactly.
Friday's Friday.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Friday's Friday.
But in addition to that, our most of the summer long, National Nightmare is over. LeBron is not retiring. Woo! Now I can breathe easier. I can sleep at night. I can start eating again. It's tremendous.
It's great. It's so great. I was already wondering what are we going to do without LeBron James? Does this mean that this is going to be Steph Curry's NBA now? I was starting to get worried, but thankfully last night the king sat back on his throne.
Yeah. Rumor has it that you're kind of a LeBron guy, which is fine.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say a little bit. I would proudly say yes. I am a LeBron James fan. I won't go as far as say stan, but I've supported LeBron James all the way throughout his career.
I will probably never root for him. I'll be very sad when he does decide to go. Seriously. It's a privilege that we get to watch him. I'm glad that he's coming back, but we have the announcement from last night. I just don't know why he has to be such a jerk about it.
I don't care how many more points I score or what I can or cannot do on the floor. The real question for me is, can I play without cheating this game? The day I can't give the game everything on the floor is the day I'll be done. Lucky for you guys, that day is not today.
Lucky for us.
Boy, oh boy.
But don't forget, this is the guy that said, I am the sun.
He
in
did
response
say,
to Michael Malone's criticism.
Yeah,
Why are you the way that you are?
That's not great. I am a LeBron James fan, but I cannot stand by the I am the sun comments. That's something that's just a little bit too far. That's a pretty wild thing to say about yourself. LeBron loves himself. He definitely knows he's the best, and he's kind of started to carry himself a little bit differently in these past couple of years. I think, after the Last Dance, he's really kind of started to think about how people view his legacy and how that will be, in comparison to Michael Jordan. And I think he understands that, the second he was eliminated from the playoffs, getting people to still continue to talk about him by talking about his retirement, it was all part of his grand master plan to just stay in the news and stay in the media. And this is a continuation of that. Now we're opening today's show talking about LeBron James and him coming back, even though we all knew that LeBron James wasn't going to leave. There was no reason for him to leave this year. His son is a step closer to being in the NBA, which we all know is his overall goal. there was no way LeBron was actually going to call it quits.
I know. The whole thing was a little embarrassing. By the way, he was accepting the ESPY award last night for, I think it was for the most mysterious hairline. I think so. And it's like, yes,
him and Kevin Durant have been battling year for year after Trae Young has entered the chat.
But he's also very savvy, and he knows the whole thing. It was kind of a charade, the whole I'm going to retire thing. But he knows that there's nothing else going on right now. If I make that announcement now that I'm coming back, lucky for you, I'm one of, if not the top story.
It is
on Thursday, which again is one of the most underrated days of the week.
Yes, I mean he took the opportunity and he's ran with it. This is the dead period. The baseball All-Star game is even over, so we couldn't justify talking about that over this.
Ratings down, by the way, for the All-Star game.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I watched
some key demos, but like they just keep going down.
Yeah, that's a different story, but it's the dead period of the year, and LeBron just is taking that opportunity to make the spotlight about him, and it's whatever. Like I don't think anybody actually expected him to be done. So.
What do you think it means to cheat the game? Certainly,
I thought that was weird too.
Yeah, I guess it means going out there and not giving your full effort. In his mind, is like you always give your best, and I've always given my best. Which, by the way, reminds me of Jordan, because those who knew Jordan said when he played, and it could have been a random Wednesday in Orlando or somewhere. He thought, you know what? There's somebody here who's never seen me play before, and I'm going to put on a show for them. I'm going to play my best. So in that way, the two of them, I think, are similar.
I wonder what it is that I wonder if it's health. I mean, he's kind of for the first time really dealt with consecutive years of injury with his ankle last year. That was a very serious injury, not something he's had to deal with before.
I've definitely seen him not really get back on defense.
So that's what I was wondering is, because he's not giving his 100%, unless his 100% is a scale, like unless that's something that, obviously as you get older, your 100% is going to look different than what it was
Tell
at 24.
Me about it. Yeah.
TNT is going to be a different 100% from NBA TV.
Right. Exactly. Right. Like there's a much different
put it
level
that way, but you're right.
No, there is. Yeah. It's just different caliber of what you're able to do. But it's, he doesn't give his 100% on defense. So I don't know what he means by until whatever. I don't want to cheat the game, or once I cheat the game, or what. It was confusing what he was saying, but
never
lucky for you.
Yeah.
You guys are lucky. You guys are all winning tonight.
Yeah.
Because I'm not
lucky for you
going to stop.
Not tonight.
I just,
I'm LeBron James.
He loves himself a lot, but
I'm thrilled that he's still playing. I
mean, it's going to be so weird with him not in the NBA. Just like it's going to be a gaping hole that I don't think will be filled for a very long time. Like how long after Jordan retired were they like, all right, when's the next Jordan coming up? Is it going to be Grant Hill? Is it going to be Kobe? And all these guys.
I remember that conversation. It's going to be Sean Kemp. No, it's not.
No, it's not. There's going to be conversation of who's going to be the next LeBron. Is there going to be a next LeBron? It sparks the conversation of, the U.S. versus international athlete. I don't know if we're going to have somebody who's going to be able to have the grand star power that LeBron has, because, LeBron has all the factors of he came up in this like American hype machine that is, when he was 18 in early 2000s, that's like the peak era of, or kind of the start of the decline of like the child star that we used to have. And now, that machine doesn't really operate the same. And there's not really many American born players that have that kind of hype behind them anymore.
If you go back to the beginnings of pro basketball, the NBA was the BAA, whatever it was initially, and then they merged with the NBL. But through the history of pro basketball, there have been very few periods during which you could say, the best player in the history of the game is not playing.
Mm-hmm.
You start with Mikan, right?
Sure,
supposedly.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, Chamberlain came along. And after Chamberlain, you had like Bill Russell, and you had Kareem. And Kareem played into Bird, Magic, Jordan. And then Jordan, there's a brief period where Jordan was out. Then you had LeBron. So you could make a case throughout the history of the NBA, except for a brief period or two, that, wow, the greatest player ever is playing now. When LeBron leaves, assuming it's in the next couple of years, I think we'll be in that position again.
That's a really interesting point. Not something I've really ever thought about before. I mean,
I think it's true.
It is. No, the game has continued to escalate. I mean, it's continued to get better and better and better throughout the eras. You can maybe argue, and I know, I'm sorry, Chris and Whitey here, but you can argue maybe Luka is going to be that guy that. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I would leave right now.
I'm so sorry. I just think, when you're looking around at the landscape, I mean, things do continue to get better and better. And when you look at who is primed at the moment to kind of take that mantle of, at least from the national perspective or from a casual perspective of who's doing things that have never been seen before, it could be Jokic, I guess. I think Nikola Jokic is fantastic. I think he's got a very big hill to climb if he wants to be, forget the greatest player ever in that conversation, greatest center ever. He's got a lot of work to do. Maybe you could argue Giannis bringing this two-way game that we haven't really seen before, but he kind of, he lacks some shooting ability and some other things like that might not age him as gracefully. I think if you look at the landscape and you had to pick one person who could be that next generation player, I think Luka's got to be in the pole position for it.
Why'd you go back to that?
Sorry. It is what it is.
Maybe he'll be considered the best player. I don't think there's any chance he'll be considered the best player ever. Maybe I'm wrong. It has to do with the math. The longer the league is around, the more players who have played. So now we got guys like Steph and Jokic, and it's like, wow, maybe they're top 10 ever at their position.
Sure.
You know, because so many guys have played, so many great players.
Right.
Yeah. So to say who's going to be the greatest after LeBron, I don't know. But again, it speaks to how incredible he's been. And I do think I don't mean to enter into this argument of who's the GOAT, but I think he is going to be perceived that way because he came after Jordan. There's going to be a lot of people that forget Jordan. Have already forgotten seeing him. Yeah. They know about the legend, but they saw LeBron. Plus, he's got the scoring title. I think when all is said and done, I think he's going to widely be considered the greatest player of all time.
I think it's going to take another generation. I think LeBron, for this generation, doesn't have enough positive PR behind him to get this current crop of young people talking about LeBron in that way. I think it's going to take some degrees of separation away from him actually playing for it to get to that conversation, because I do think that there's also enough people who are part of the older generations who have done a great job of letting everyone know, look, this guy's fantastic, but he's not him. And, once those people are moved on, I think once no one has seen either of those two guys play, I think that's when it moves to LeBron.
We'll continue the celebration of LeBron's announcement. We've got that coming up. Also, Kings fans' expectations. Where are they? Where should they be compared to what they were a year ago? That's next. He's Watkins and I'm Whitey, and this is Sactown Sports.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean. And there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Check out Whitey and Watkins now on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and watch the show from your desk.
Join the chat. Already have a chat of the day. I'm going to make this a chat of the day winner. Now we can have more than one winner.
I think I know.
Chat of the day comment winner from Pike 916. He says, nope, Luka won't be that guy. There's a chat of the day comment winner right there. You with me, Verlad? Winner?
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
No way.
Very concise, cogent, right to the point comment. Nope. Luka, what we're talking about, considered the best player ever.
Luka Doncic has been in the NBA for
too long,
4 or 5 seasons now. And the numbers that he has put up in his first 5 seasons, I have never seen before. I mean, what he's putting up near triple-double numbers, scoring almost 30 points per game.
Well, he has the ball all the time.
Sure.
It's not easy. I'm not saying anybody could do that.
So did Michael Jordan.
Yeah. We're talking best player ever. Will he be considered the best player ever? Maybe he'll be considered the best player at the time when LeBron eventually decides, I can't cheat the game, I'm out. But the best player ever?
I think so. I think that, look, I mean, he's got a lot of career left in him. He's 23, going to be 24 years old this next NBA season. He's 24 years old right now. I just think
when Magic was 24, he'd won 10 titles.
You know, that's a very fair argument. I just think Luka, especially once LeBron leaves and maybe it kind of clears out a little bit, I don't know who's going to stop him. Like, even if you're just making a numbers argument, I think his numbers are going to be insane. He's already got a Western Conference Finals appearance. Say what you will about what that appearance was.
Oh my
gosh. I just think the dude is going to be
wearing Dallas Mavericks underwear.
I should be, huh? I after the Marvin Bagley selection, I became a huge Dallas Mavericks supporter. That's not true. I just think that the dude is going to be ridiculous. And I think he's going to put up crazy numbers that we've never seen. He will. And I think it's probably going to start this year. I think this is the year that Luka kind of takes another level. I mean, have you seen the skinny Luka pictures this summer?
Yeah, I probably have.
I've seen the cone drill, and you would think that the loss of weight would speed him up, but
yeah, Chris, he likes to play at his own speed. Okay. Like he's, it's called pace,
the NBA wants him to win an MVP so bad.
Yeah.
He just can't take that step.
I guarantee right now Luka is the MVP favorite right now for next season. I would put, and he would, if he's not, that's where I would go for the next 10 years. Maybe, I think if you bet Luka Doncic MVP, I bet he wins.
Maybe he is, and maybe he should be, and maybe he's a heavy favorite. That doesn't
emphasis on heavy, right?
Maybe.
Come on.
Yeah. See, I didn't even say that.
Come on.
That doesn't put him anywhere near the conversation of, is he the best player ever? No, he's not. That's not even a thing.
I think that he could be viewed as one of the best offensive players of all time. I think the numbers he's putting up right now at such a young age, that if he is healthy, which is a massive caveat, because he has not taken care of his body so far in his NBA career, and he's already said there's no way he's playing as long as LeBron has, which, isn't really that big of a statement. But, if he's able to continue the numbers he's putting up for the next 10 years, I just think it's going to be really hard to argue against somebody who his second year in the league, he put up 28, 9, and 8.
The cool thing about him to me was that second year actually did improve over a phenomenal first year. He got better.
Yes.
Second year. Since then,
I mean, he averaged 32, 8, and 8 last year, which is, I mean, that's ridiculous. I can't, if he does better than 32, 8, and 8 in his career, or if he touches anywhere near that, I just think it's going to be really tough to not have specifically offensive-based arguments about how Luka is one of the best offensive weapons, specifically at forward or guard, that we have ever seen.
Luka is currently third in
MVP for next year. If I had to guess, Jokic and Giannis are ahead of him.
Correct.
I'd bet Luka. I think that at some point, to what you're arguing, at some point he's got to take some form of leap, because he's putting up these numbers. That's fine and dandy. But if you want to be considered like what I'm talking about, you do have to win MVPs, and you do have to have some postseason success. And he's had marginal to pretty decent postseason success, but he's got to start racking up the accolades and start getting, as we saw with Jokic, it just takes one run for the narrative of you to be completely flipped on its head.
I think one of the big reasons why, in my opinion, future generations will widely view LeBron as the greatest ever is because of what he's done in terms of his longevity.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
how good he's been for such a long time. And I think J-Mars made the point today. with J. Ross, he's had like 2 Hall of Fame careers.
Yes.
And Jordan,
you can almost argue 3 Hall of Fame careers.
I don't know if I'll ever consider LeBron better than Jordan. I don't know, but one of the things you have to look at is the fact that Jordan, tails off as most guys did then. And then LeBron's like, wow, he's not what he used to be, but he's still phenomenal and he's still going strong. And most importantly, he's not cheating the game.
Right. not at all.
Said. Yeah.
I wonder if LeBron's off the floor stuff, like the positive off the floor stuff, will also factor into it. Like, you can maybe argue he's been the best professional athlete of all time in terms of using his platform, and he has a school in his name. He's always, he's just done tons of, philanthropic stuff. He's got, a whole production company behind him. He's produced Space Jam, all this stuff on top of his NBA. He's going to be
Jordan sold a lot of shoes.
Absolutely. I mean, no, for like Jordan absolutely has his lane, but I mean, LeBron does that and then more, but it's also, LeBron, it's one of those where there is no this without that. Like, I don't think LeBron has the business savvy or looks at that without MJ having his shoe, without Magic Johnson doing all the stuff that he did post-career. So I wonder if maybe if any of that stuff ends up tying into his legacy as well, because I think you could also, the child star element of this, the fact that no one has really had, or at that point had that much pressure leading into the career. And then for him to fulfill pretty much all of those promises and all the hype. And you can even argue maybe and then some. I just, there will be an argument there for, I don't think anyone has ever done anything close to what he did as a professional in his life.
If there's one guy who gets short shrift when it comes to the best player ever discussion,
Kareem.
Nobody cares. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. But when you look at his numbers, I mean, the MVPs, the championships, and
college,
the all-time. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. He just played in an era where I don't know why. He was kind of overshadowed by Wilt in a way, and then
he wasn't liked as a person,
that's
right?
A good point.
Like, he was pretty cold to most.
Now he's everywhere.
He was on Jennifer Hudson yesterday. We saw him literally on the Jennifer Hudson show.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a big part of it.
Yeah, and I mean it's that, and that's
he
why
played for a long time.
I mean, right, almost as long as LeBron, if not long. I think he played 20 NBA seasons, didn't he, or somewhere near there at least. I mean, he played until his 40s. Like, he was LeBron before LeBron in a way. I mean, LeBron obviously just broke his scoring record. I think you're right. Like, Kareem doesn't really ever come up in those conversations.
Yeah,
best
and he's
of all
just
time.
not gonna. So I don't want to, drag us down that road. But
Sure.
I'm just curious if anybody who has any knowledge of what he did is like, okay.
I mean, it's one of those where you look at the Basketball Reference and it's almost impossible to try and deny him.
Yeah,
it's like he did everything.
Now, do you remember what LeBron said was the moment in his mind that made it official?
That he was the GOAT.
He was the greatest of all time.
It was the 3-1 comeback.
Yeah.
Which, it's absolutely a feather in his cap for sure. It was an incredible accomplishment. It does not count for more than one championship, like I think he hopes it does. But
that game-winning shot, that was Kyrie. That wasn't him. Okay. Well, all right.
Sometimes being a great player is knowing when to defer to others, and that was one of those moments. It was his Steve Kerr moment.
Some people don't like false humility. I understand that, but sometimes I like, even if it's false humility, just an effort,
an acknowledgement,
try to be humble,
and
try to give respect to others. I'm okay with that.
He doesn't do it anymore. I feel like he used to do it a little, and then I think once he went to Miami, he just tried to embrace the villain and the I don't care about outside noise, even though I clearly care about outside noise thing. And ever since then, like I said, it's just kind of him. I think any form of humbleness would be, I think he might perceive it as a acknowledgement of defeat in the Jordan case. And so I almost think at this point, you have to carry yourself like that in order to rise above all of the negative downsayers who, just try and really, I mean, because there are people who just are out there to hate on LeBron James. And I don't think many other players, maybe with the exception of like Kobe, but even then, I don't think as many are just actively against LeBron James.
Yeah, we have this from Willie Bowen on the YouTube chat. Robert Horry has more NBA championships than LeBron.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly. Case in point.
Manny Too Legit says, we all know LeBron is not the greatest of all time.
Do we
but
all know that?
There are a lot of people that will tell you he's just not, because he's not the most likable cat. But that's kind of to his credit, because when he kicks your team's ass over and over and over, it's hard sometimes not to get tired of that.
I just think and I love that we're doing the Michael Jordan versus LeBron thing right now, but I think that when you talk about a basketball player, sure, like, okay, you want to win an NBA title, whatever. But just as a basketball player, it's really hard to find a better player, individual, than LeBron James. I mean, the dude is 6'9", can run like a gazelle, can block shots, can play defense on anybody, truly 1 through 5.
Shooting improved
learn to
dramatically.
Shoot, can attack the rim like a freaking bulldozer. Like,
knows the game,
passes well,
pretty smart,
great IQ. He is a level of selfless on the basketball floor. If you're just picking 5 out on the blacktop, it's really hard to not look at that guy and say, I will take 5 of those, please.
Mm-hmm.
It's, Michael Jordan's great. He can do just about everything, but he's not as naturally gifted and talented. I mean, I won't say talented, but just not as naturally gifted as what LeBron James is. You just can't argue that.
Yeah, the narrative is gradually shifting. I think it's inevitable where someday, maybe not someday soon, but someday the consensus will be LeBron is the greatest ever. I think MJ knew that. That's one reason why he put Last Dance together.
Right.
Remind people, don't forget about me.
I think that 3-1 series was a watershed moment for both of those guys. As you just stated, LeBron said that was the moment I knew I was the GOAT. I think that was also the moment when Michael Jordan was like, am I not the GOAT?
Yeah.
Real quick. And that's when the Last Dance got picked up. And as they say, the rest is history.
As promised, we'll come around to Kings fans' expectations, where they are compared to where they were a year ago and what they should be. Also, Wemby making a bold claim about the level of physicality over here. We get into that next year on Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The Kings are running it back.
He's got the bucket at the buzzer. Harrison Barnes, Alex Lynn just went above the iron with a 2-hand throwdown. And that was as nasty as we've seen him in a Kings uniform.
And welcoming some new faces.
Oh, and here comes Vezenkov. He gets the big finish.
Fisher rejected by Mr. Vezenkov.
Keep it locked on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street, right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you find the right customers. Spread awareness of your product or services. We can help build trust in your brand and services with a digital marketing campaign. Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing campaigns that deliver results. Don't wait. Get started today. Contact aimyourdigital.com. That's aimyourdigital.com and start seeing results.
Hold up. You're using Swiffer Power Mop? What would Mom say?
Oh, she'd be like, a mopping bucket is the only way to deep clean your floors. And I'd be like, Mom, this is the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one that gets you a mop and bucket clean in half the time.
She'd never believe you.
I'd say, look, the solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket. And the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get into grout lines. That's why you're the smart one.
Really?
What? Mom said it.
The new Swiffer Power Mop. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Uma?
Yep. Switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at Uma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Hold up. You're using Swiffer Power Mop? What would Mom say?
Oh, she'd be like, a mop and bucket is the only way to deep clean your floors. And I'd be like, Mom, this is the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one that gets you a mop and bucket clean in half the time.
She'd never believe you.
I'd say, look, the solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket. And the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get into grout lines. That's why you're the smart one.
Really?
What? Mom said it.
The new Swiffer Power Mop. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlot with your Sactown Sports headlines. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that the Boston Celtics center Kristaps Porzingis has signed a 2-year, $60 million extension with the team. The Celtics acquired Porzingis in a 3-team trade that sent guard Marcus Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies. The Celtics will now have Porzingis under contract through the 25-26 NBA season. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has announced its semifinal nominees for the 2024 class, and 2 former 49ers had made the list. Former Niners running back Roger Craig and former Niners head coach George Seifert will both have a chance to make it to Canton next year. For more on the possible Hall of Famers, check out Sactown Sports 49ers insider Emil Fregoso's story on SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
Some very interesting and coaching comments on the YouTube chat today. No surprise. Thanks for being with us here. I'm Kevin Michael Whitey Gleason. He's president of the Luka Doncic fan club.
And
Chris
LeBron
Watkins.
James.
And LeBron James.
Don't forget about that. Come on.
How about
Two
this,
kings.
though? Yeah, and we're not so much talking about is LeBron better than Michael Jordan, but I just think it's inevitable that sometime fairly soon, I think LeBron is going to be seen as the greatest. I mean, it's just there's an inevitability to that, I think, because of, recency bias and how long LeBron has played. So that's the only case I'm making. But Epic Airbees says, when Michael Jordan was playing, there were those that hated him who now think he is the greatest. That could happen with LeBron. I think, yeah, some of those feelings soften over time. And when they do, LeBron's case is only going to be further bolstered.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, people will find somebody else, whether it be Luka Doncic or somebody else, to gleam their hate onto, and they'll forget about all the small stuff that they didn't like about LeBron. And it's just he's undeniable. Like, you just look at everything he's done, and you just can't disrespect what he's done to this game and the impact he's had. And it's just he is, whether you like it or not, he is 1 or 2 on the greatest player of all time list. And I think you're right. At some point, he's going to move up to number 1. The less and less people that are alive and here to tell the story of personally seeing Michael Jordan play basketball, the less of those people that exist on this earth, the more likely I think it is that LeBron will catch some steam and will eventually, like you're saying, dethrone Mike as the greatest.
Pike 916 says Jordan was an assassin. In that vein, I'd say Kobe is higher ranked than LeBron. I think LeBron had more of a reputation for being that guy that didn't necessarily want that shot. I think he's taking care of that, but I'm reminded of the All-Star game, and I think it was 2012. Remember this? There was LeBron had the ball at the end of the game, or maybe it went into overtime, and he didn't take it. And remember, Kobe went over to him on the court. Wow. Was like, dude, you got to take that shot. And that was part of the whole LeBron thing. Right. I don't think it is anymore.
No, I don't think so. And I mean, I thought you were talking a couple of years ago. He actually did take, in the first year of the Elam ending final for the NBA All-Star game, he did take the final shot, and he actively was hunting it, looked for his turnaround jump shot and hit it. And it was the game winner of the All-Star game. So I do think he's taking care of it, but that was also part of his game. And it's just crazy to me that people view that as a downside for LeBron James. Like, if you're a coach, if you're the head coach of a team that has LeBron James on it, that's the ultimate thing you want from a superstar, from your best player, is the recognition of, look, I have 4 other guys out there on the floor. I should use them, not just the weight of the world is on my back. And if we lose this game, it's all on my shoulders. It's a team game. And the fact that he's always recognized that and almost had to be shoved into this, you need to be more selfish thing, I don't see how that's a negative. Like, if that to me is just a sign that he gets it. He understands what it truly is to be an NBA basketball player, and not just, a guy that everybody talks about and, fans may love. It's about being your favorite player's favorite player. And I think that's more what LeBron goes for, is the recognition and acknowledgement of his peers over all of us.
But that's not the Mamba mentality, right?
You're right. No, it's not. It's not.
And that's why Kobe's like, what are you doing? That you take that shot.
Yeah, but
I think a lot of fans, pardon me, but I think a lot of fans look at it that way too. And I mean, I remember seeing Tatum at times this year. It's like, what are you doing? And clearly at the end of games, he's like, I'm the guy and I have to take this shot. And sometimes you're right, that can work against a team. But if guys don't do that, I mean, it's one thing to be Michael Jordan where everyone knows the defense is collapsing on you and you kick it to Kerr and he makes a shot. But LeBron was seen fairly or unfairly earlier in his career as a guy that, he doesn't want that shot.
Right. And whatever.
It's probably just wrong.
It's just, I mean, to me, it's just wrong. I don't know if, I think LeBron wanted to win those games. And I think it is just like, he's making the read early and he's making the right read. It was never necessarily, you could absolutely, and the trump card for all of this is always the I think it was 2011 NBA finals against the Dallas Mavericks. That's sure. Absolutely. You can have that argument and there's no counter case to it. LeBron completely melted in that Maverick series and there's really no defense for how he played, but it was a learning lesson. Guys you should be given the grace to fail and learn from your mistakes. And I would say the following season, he completely took down a Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kevin Durant led Thunder team. And, it was never really a problem again after that. He still continues to make the right play. It's just, I think, after you win, all of those questions stop being asked about you. Nobody says Nikola Jokic was too passive and that's why now this year he was more aggressive and that's why they won. I just think you should be allowed to play the game the way you want to play it, however it is that you see fit. And we should find the beauty in how you play. It shouldn't be, you have to fit into this mold in order to be considered in this conversation. It should be a different strokes for different folks. Like some people, I've talked with many people who have legitimate long arguments about Magic Johnson being their greatest player of all time. Like they might not be right, but who am I to tell you that your pick is better than my pick if you have justifiable evidence for it? Like it's just, it's sports. There is no true one greatest of all time, unless we're talking like football and Tom Brady is clearly head and shoulders above everybody else. But
as I said, you go through the history of pro basketball, there's almost always been a guy playing at any current time that you could say, he could be the greatest ever. Mikan, Will Chamberlain, Kareem, Bird, Magic, Michael Jordan. Then there was a brief period there, though Jordan came back. Then you had LeBron. We've had LeBron since. So who's next? If LeBron does, and thank goodness he announced last night.
Yeah.
Lucky for us, he's not quitting yet, but he will someday. Who will be next? How about Victor Wembanyama? How long before we're saying, that guy could be the best ever?
He could. I mean, if you believe Adrian Wojnarowski, it's going to be in the next 3 years. I mean, he said some scouts believe that Victor could be the best player in the NBA in the next 3 to 5 years. I still have a lot to see, but I mean, you could understand how the physical profile that he has and the theoretical skills that he has never been seen before. And if he's able to execute, all of that dribbling, and if he can figure out rebounds, if he can average 3 to 4 blocks per game, you could argue that, we haven't seen a figure like him since Wilt Chamberlain, really, where it's just been this guy is incredibly dominant because he's just massively bigger than everybody else. And that's really what his game is. So I could see it in the next 5 or so years, maybe. I mean, it's going to be a figuring out process for him. I think he's got a lot of comfortability that he still needs to get.
Maybe it times out. LeBron, when he finally steps away after a year or two with Bronny, Wembanyama comes into his own and assumes that mantle. But Victor Wembanyama had some interesting comments after playing in the Summer League. This was right after his second game.
Yeah, right after his second game.
He compared the physicality of EuroLeague ball to what he experienced briefly in the Summer League.
First of all, the court is more open. It's going fast, but it's less physical, and I get fouled a lot, but not as much. Nothing to compare. And yes, and players are just flying. Out there is more on the ground, pushing on the ground, big box outs. Here it's great athletes, the best in the world. way more talent. But I like this better though.
He needs to be careful about talking about how physical the NBA game is or isn't before
Yeah.
he's actually played a real game.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steven Adams, Jonas Valanciunas.
Played summer league, bro.
Yeah, there's a very big difference. And, sure, Victor can only speak on what he's experienced so far. But, yeah, you're right. He should definitely watch for what he's asking for because he's going to get it on a couple nights. There's going to be, even against guys like Sabonis. Like, Sabonis is going to make his afternoon a nightmare. There's going to be guys who are just – that's going to be their game. They might come in – think about him going against a guy like Isaiah Stewart. Like somebody someone who's just going to muck it up. He's not going to worry about the height or, whatever. If Victor gets a rebound over him, there's nothing you can do about it. But what you can do is make sure that when he gets the rebound, you push him out of the paint and don't let him put it back up.
Warriors should have drafted him instead of Wiseman, huh?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in
hindsight,
look in 2020. Yeah. I think Victor's that's going to be his Achilles heel. I think, especially early in the NBA, is just the level of physicality. I think that's going to be how many coaches are going to deal with the Victor problem is just, we're not going to put Alex Len out there. I mean, like, Alex Len is just going to be a less coordinated, slower version of Victor. Let's put out somebody who can stay in front of him, but also kind of check him a little bit and make him feel some physicality.
I'm with you. I think that, and also figuring out there are times when you can't just dribble the ball on the open floor.
Yes.
Oh
level. My gosh.
We'll see.
So weird.
I do understand also that I think he was talking stylistically that the NBA basketball is more, but again, he hasn't played a game yet, but I think what he means is there's more up and down. It's more free flowing.
It's
not
like
as
you
much.
said, it's in the air. There's a lot of athletes. And the funny thing is, Luka Doncic actually said a very similar thing. I'm sorry, I know I'm going to keep bringing him up.
Is that the theme of the day?
It's just he had a very similar quote where he said the NBA is tougher to play because you have many players that are basically impossible to guard. But I would say, and this is Luka, I would say that scoring is easier in the NBA just because of the different rules, the amount of space, the time. So that's why I said it's easier to score in the NBA.
Scoring is easier if he's guarding you, I'll tell you that.
He said scoring 30 in EuroLeague game is harder than in an NBA game 100%. I'm just saying shorter? This because of the rules.
Aren't the games?
They are shorter. Yes, they are. That would
There's
also be
no illegal defense.
Yes, there's no illegal defense. You could slap the ball. If it hits the rim, you could quite literally just slap it out of there. So, I mean, there is that element of it as well. But it is interesting to me that now two EuroLeague or European guys have come over and pretty much said EuroLeague has elements that is a lot more difficult than what I've experienced in the NBA. I think maybe Victor has a better argument for the score, like the physicality. I do think over there is just a little bit more of a brooding to the floor, more of your traditional high level pickup kind of game where the NBA is definitely more a less skill. I don't want to say less skill, but more. No, I will say it's less skill based and more just based off of athleticism.
Martin says on the YouTube chat, okay, I'm leaving with all the Luka talk. What do you have to say to Martin? Because I know I haven't brought him up.
That's the last time. That's the last time. There's no more Luka talk on the rundown. Might do a Marvin Bagley segment. No, I'm kidding. No, we're done. We're done. I promise.
You sure about that?
Yes, I promise.
Just to be safe, we're going to talk baseball a little bit. And if he comes up then, then I am.
Then I got a problem. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The A's victory total can it top Ohtani's home run total? We've got our second half predictions coming up next. Whitey Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Whitey
and Watkins
on Sactown Sports. Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa, Thursdays at 6 p.m. on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa, Thursdays at 6 p.m. on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with 0 down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
0 down with approved credit.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
If you're ready for some leisure in your life, let me recommend El Macero Country Club, just 15 minutes from downtown Sacramento. Play our stunning championship golf course. Practice on our manicured short game facility. Cool off in our 50-meter swimming pool. Play tennis. Enjoy social events and mouth-watering dining options after a great day of play. We're now accepting new social and golf memberships for a limited time. Visit elmacerocc.org and put some leisure back in your life at El Macero Country Club.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network. Well, when the A's took the shortstop Jacob Wilson from Grand Canyon in the first round of this year's draft, it meant the A's had drafted a shortstop from Thousand Oaks High in 2 of the last 3 first rounds, going back to 21 when the A's took Max Muncy. And now Wilson, coached by his dad, the former big leaguer Jack Wilson, in high school, taken by the A's 6th overall. Ken Korak here, introducing you to the Xfinity 10G network. Xfinity is undergoing a multi-year network evolution, giving you a powerful connection today while building toward a faster, more reliable tomorrow. The Xfinity 10G network gives you the fastest internet with even faster speeds rolling out all the time. You also get a consistent and reliable connection when everyone's online, even during peak hours. That's a home run. If you want to learn more, go online at xfinity.com/10G.
When the world's best players get fitted for new golf clubs, they want to see their ball flight outdoors. Why should you settle for any less? The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is the area's unquestioned leader in delivering a new age of golf club fitting to Northern California. With 14 trained, skilled professionals to show you how to hit the ball farther and straighter, satisfied customers have increased their yardage, improved their games, and gained confidence. Call 916-808-2531 to get started. That's 808-2531 for longer, straighter drives.
Sacramento, get ready for the launch of Flex Power Tools at Fasteners Tool Outlet. Come on down this Saturday, July 15th for a one-day Flex Tool launch party. Witness live demos, score unbeatable deals on all Flex products, and get a free 3.5 amp hour 24-volt battery with every kit purchase. Grab a rear handle saw kit with a free 10 amp hour battery for just $299. Power up with Flex at Fasteners Tool Outlet. Don't miss it this Saturday, July 15th at 6701 Power Inn Road. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net.
Download the Sactown Sports app and listen to Whitey and Watkins on your smartphone.
Woo! Well, just so relieved that LeBron is not going to hang him up. Lucky for us. We're so lucky.
We are.
You know how lucky we are?
Privileged.
Chris Watkins.
Very privileged to be in the presence of the great king one more year.
Yes. At least.
The reign will continue. At least one more year. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Bronny could possibly enter the NBA draft after next season. And I would assume, I mean, LeBron has made it very clear that that's his goal. I would assume that means maybe we even have 2 years left of LeBron.
Yeah.
That's assuming his son would make it.
When LeBron finally retires, does he apologize? Does he say, I'm sorry, NBA fans, but that was my last season.
Yes, he will. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think he really will. Yeah, I know it's been a great pleasure and honor to watch me play this game, but I know. I'm sorry.
Watch me play this game.
I'm sorry. Please quiet that baby back there, please. But I'm gonna have to hang up the shoes.
It will either be I'm sorry or you're welcome.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
As far as who's next, BCH Custom Cabinetry on the YouTube chat says they hyped up Zion the same. We see how that went. Yeah, that's true. But obviously the Wemby hype is a little bit more extreme.
A little more justified also. You know, Zion was more just a physical freak we had never seen before. And, you know, he still can be great. It's just he's kind of got to take care of his body. And, you know, Wemby is truly something we have never seen before.
And Campo Silva says Wemby will see Wemby. I thought he was talking about the Webbies yesterday. Wemby will see during the regular season how physical the NBA is. He will regret his statement.
Probably.
Yeah, I wonder about that. And then the more I think about it, it's maybe like, no, he was talking about pace of play. But if he was saying, oh, this summer league, the NBA, not as physical as Euroball. Yeah, there are going to be a few guys that are going to take note of that, and they will make him regret it.
Yeah, they're going to push him around. And
that's probably going to happen whether those guys notice what he said or not.
Right, exactly. That's the thing you don't have to tell Steven Adams or Valanciunas or any of those guys to be more physical than what they already are.
Even
and
like a smaller guy, Julius Randle or somebody's like, you're trying to guard me in the post? All right.
Yeah, no, there's no way. I think that's going to be the thing that Wemby's got to work on the most. And if he's going to be elite in this league, he's got to make a body transformation, much like that of you look at Giannis now. Giannis is absolutely shredded. Even you look at Gobert. Gobert's got some muscle to him as well. He came in looking a lot like Victor. I remember when he worked out here in Sacramento, watching his workout video, being like, this guy looks like Gumby. Like I can't imagine this guy playing a second of NBA basketball. And I mean, if you look at him now, he's jacked. So if Wemby can get to that sort of workout regimen, I think he should be fine.
Did you see the pictures of your guy, Chet Holmgren, who had a big game? There's pictures of him from last year and then this year. And this year he looks more defined, but he looks just as skinny. The pictures I saw, I was like, I don't know that he weighs anymore. I guess muscle mass weighs more, but he's more defined, but he's just
really tiny,
pencil thin,
very, very tiny.
Yeah.
He's one where I have legitimate concerns about, like you're kind of pointing at, like, can his body even put on weight? Like there's some people who just naturally can't hold weight.
If he was playing here and they opened like the hangar doors, whoosh,
where did Chet go? Okay. Golden One Center crew.
Yeah.
Look, that could be a strategy. Open up the hangar doors when we play OKC.
Yeah.
Who knows? They might play 4-on-5.
Oh,
might be the 4-on-5 dream that Vivek always wished for. It would. So could be.
But he played really well last night.
I love Chet Holmgren. I'm well documented on the Chet Holmgren train. I just think he's going to be a problem in this league for a lot of if he can stay healthy, which already has become a big if. But he's going to be really, really good for a really long time, I think. And again, just health permitted.
Yeah. Summer League continues tonight, and tomorrow the baseball season resumes.
Yay!
The so-called second half of the MLB season. Yes. So you're wondering what's going to happen. Don't worry about it. We're going to tell you what happens, what is going to happen before it happens. Here's Christopher Laud.
All right, time to call your shot.
Yeah.
First on the board, which will be higher at the end of the season? Shohei Ohtani home runs or A's wins?
Oof.
Go
ahead.
Ohtani currently has 32 home runs. The A's have 25 wins with 70 games remaining.
Wait, they have how many wins?
25. And remember, they had a 7-game winning streak this season.
That is true. That's crazy. I'll go first. This is crazy. I'm going to say Ohtani home runs. I feel like Shohei the Angels probably have somewhere around 70 games remaining as well. If he can get to 50, I think it's locked up. I think he'll probably end around between 45 and 50. That would mean the A's would have to win 20 of their last 70, which is a little bit over a third of their game. Yeah, I'm going to say Ohtani. I'm going to say Ohtani home runs.
I'm with you, and I don't think it's especially close. You look at the you ever look at run differential? Colorado right now, they're 34 and 57. They're minus 147, which is dreadful.
Yes.
That's a run differential. Kansas City Royals, their run differential, they're minus 155, which is terrible. The A's are minus 248. They've given up 248 more runs than they've scored.
That seems bad.
They got 25 wins. Ohtani in a contract year. Of course, he could not get a hit the rest of the year, and people are still going to give him $500 million, but he does have that extra motivation. He's going to hit 55. The A's maybe win 53 games.
Yeah.
I like Ohtani in this one.
Yeah. The A's even getting over 50, I think is going to be tough, honestly.
Yeah.
All right. Next one, guys.
What do you think, Verlad?
Oh, it's Ohtani.
Yes. Not even close.
I love Ohtani like Chris likes Luka.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
He pitches and hits.
Where's he going to play next year? What do you think? I think Dodgers. I don't want to say that.
Yeah,
I think
that
Dodgers.
seems like the easiest move to make.
Yeah.
Now I'm ticked.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I don't want it.
Over or under a 400 batting average for Luis Reyes?
I'll go under. It's so hard to do. I can remember Rod Carew at 377 one year, and George Brett hit 390. It's really, really hard to do, especially in today's day and age with so many specialized relievers. And the fact that he's at, 388 right now?
He's at 388
Yeah,
right
I mean,
now,
that's phenomenal. I don't think there's any way. By September, it'll be that was nice. He made a run, but not going to happen.
Yeah. I've actually got some numbers. I'm also going to go under. In his career, he's 0.34, 349, pre All-Star break, post All-Star break, he's hitting 0.299. Just it's almost impossible to hit over 400. It's he was up there for a good majority of the season.
Yeah.
That's already a huge accomplishment. I think finishing above 400 is almost impossible. It's not going to be without try, but it's going to be under.
Tony Gwynn was the last guy that had a legit shot. And I think over 162 from a certain period,
right?
Not season to season, but I think he came really close. But I don't think anybody can do it. And Carew, by the way, showed him he had 388 in 1977. Sorry, Rod Carew.
I want to say Nomar had a 400 batting average going in August, but finished 360 or 370 just because.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can't hold up.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost impossible.
All right, guys. Asturi Ruiz will steal blank bases this season. Currently has 43 in 85 games.
I'm going to go for it. I think he's going to get 70. It hasn't been done since 2009. Jacoby Ellsbury stole 70 bases in 2009. I think Jose Reyes also stole over 70 in the mid 2000s. So it's going to be really, really tough. There's 70 or so games left for the A's. I think he's going to finish with around 70.
I would love to see that. I think he's going to wear down, and I think he's going to end up with what would we say is at 40.
He's at 43 right now.
Yeah, he's going to end up with mid 60s because I think he's going to wear down. His on base percentage isn't high. I don't think he's ever played close to as many games as he's going to be playing this year. So, in the A's, I think it's just going to start spiraling the wrong way. I hope not, but I think he's going to stall because he's going to wear down.
How about Acuna? Acuna's got 41 steals.
I thought the stolen base numbers might be higher this year because you can't throw over, but it's
in
still
the bigger
just,
bases.
Yeah,
as well.
It's not as big a part of baseball anymore. So I don't know. He's got a shot at 60. I'd like to see him get 60.
Yeah,
that should be doable for him.
I think one of them will get 70. I think either one of Acuna or Ruiz will get 70. I'm more just hoping, wishing.
Also takes a toll on you physically, stealing bases.
Yeah.
It's not like you're just, hey, I'm going to run over there. Cool. You got to slide and you get tagged in the face and all over you.
I think this is why baseball's tough because it's the least, you don't need to be athletic, but there's so much sprinting. All baseball is sprinting.
Yes. Short sprints.
Yes.
And,
that's why guys get hurt all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Little obliques because you're standing there doing nothing. Then you got to go.
Then you got to jerk. Yeah. No good.
Okay, guys, true or false? The Oakland A's will finish with the worst record in baseball. They currently have a 1.5 game lead for the worst.
Yeah, I
Is that
guess
how you say it.
I guess it would be considered a lead. Yeah, the Royals are right on their tail, but Chris, as you mentioned, the A's went on a 7-game win streak to get to this 25 wins. I think the A's, and Whitey pointed out the run differential as well. There's just so many signs that point to the Oakland A's being head and shoulders the worst team in baseball. I think that they're probably almost definitely going to finish.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be close. And again, I hope I'm wrong. The Royals, based on their differential, they should have won like 30 games to this point. They've won 26, but they're played well enough to win 30. The A's, actually, they've overperformed.
That's incredible.
The differential, they should have won 24 games. So it's just not.
The fact that the A's should actually statistically be worse than what they actually are right now is incredible.
Not a be-all, end-all,
The
but
A's,
it's rough with this
they're
roster.
They're not the worst team of all time. They're just one of the worst teams of all time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which
And
is somehow an accomplishment.
Don't you think all of that about what we're doing next year as a team or where we're going to be? It has to weigh on you at some point.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm
Especially
sure.
young guys that don't have that much experience.
Yeah, it's just like, is this how this thing always is? Everything, like, I know they were saying some off the field stuff would happen.
And you know, Stomper not going to the All-Star game is really going to impact the players psychologically. What's that about?
Yeah, if they're not going to fly Stomper out, then who am I?
Right.
Who am I? Stomper's been here forever. He is the most famous A right now.
Yeah.
And if that's how they treat their famous A, how are they going to treat me? Not a good look.
Yep.
Is there one more? There's
I
one
just
more.
realized we're way over. We got to do this quick.
Way over.
We'll take it. We got one more. You want to take a timeout here?
Let's go. Let's break.
Yeah. Let's take a timeout. Come back with a look at Kings fans' expectations. Where are they now? Where should they be? Where were they a year ago? Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports. Need your Niners fix? Sactown Sports has you covered.
I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think Trey looks significantly better than he did last year. I really do. I think his confidence is there. I think that he's throwing really good passes. I mean, just watching him, he just looks so much more comfortable and confident in the pocket, and I really appreciate that from him, from all the work that he's put into it. He just looks like he's having fun, because when he's out there having a good time, it definitely brings up everyone around him.
Get all your 49ers coverage leading into the 2023 season at Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Hey, movie fans, the Esquire IMAX Theater in downtown Sacramento is now serving adult beverages. Playing this week, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, the IMAX experience.
None of our lives can matter more than this mission. I don't accept that.
See Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1 on the largest screen in Sacramento. Getting tickets is easy. Visit IMAX.com/Sacramento for showtimes and reserved seating. Plus, join the free IMAX Directors Club for special member pricing on tickets and concession items each time you visit the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com.
Hello, Sacramento. Doug Christie here, and I have something to share. Recently, I asked myself to determine the one most indispensable thing I use to do my job, the one I couldn't do without. The winner, forget the phone, which I live on, and the video editor, which makes my life understandable. The winner was the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Yes, the one I tell you about each week keeps me going comfortably supported, pain relieved, and vital. So it strikes me that if Good Feet is the most important go-to tool to relieve pain or just keep me going, shouldn't you give it a try? I think so. Come to the Good Feet store today for a free, no obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk. Experience the comfort, balance, and support of the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figuerella, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean. And there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Attention, Sacramento Valley. Elk Grove Kia is on a mission to become the leading volume dealer in the region. Introducing the revolutionary 2023 Kia EV6 Wind Edition. This all-electric marvel will leave you breathless. And the best part? You can drive it home for just $399 a month. That's right, experience the thrill of emission-free driving without breaking the bank. But let's not stop there. Elk Grove Kia is proud to present the all-new 2023 Kia Sorento Hybrid EX all-wheel drive. This full-size SUV combines power, comfort, and incredible efficiency. With an impressive 36 miles per gallon, you'll be going the distance while saving at the pump. And guess what? It's only $419 a month. Elk Grove Kia, driving towards a brighter and greener tomorrow. 2023 Kia EV6 Wind rear-wheel drive, $39.99 plus tax, 36 months lease, $49.95 due at sign. Residual $29,849.70 based on 10K per year, 20 cents per mile over zero security deposit, subject to Kia finance through loan approval. One of this payment GK 8609104377. 2023 Kia Sorento Hybrid EX all-wheel drive, $419 plus tax, 36 months lease, $49.95 due at sign. Residual $25,915.05 based on 10K per year, 20 cents per mile over zero security deposit required, subject to Kia finance through approval. One of this payment GK 88391894 expires 7/31.
Elk Grove Kia.
The Gold Rush Classic takes place July 13th and 14th in Rancho Murrieta. Come join the fun and play golf with a celebrity, or just check out the concert. The Gold Rush Classic, where the stars and guitars shine. For more info, go to goldrushclassic.org.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
No look, Bibby to Weber, down the lane, flying jam. There's your play of the night right there. It's inside is Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sactown Sports. Download the Sactown Sports app and listen to Whitey and Watkins on your smartphone.
Summer Kings back in action tonight. If there is such a thing as a Summer League must win, this would be it.
Yeah. If the Kings lose tonight, it's over for the summer. No more basketball until early October. Oh, yeah. No, can't do without it. So, going to be a big game tonight
against the Minnesota Timberwolves.
The Timber Pups. So, should be interesting. I think Leonard Miller is their key guy, and he was taken out of G League Ignite. But the King, it's going to be a matter of if they can play some offense. It's been a struggle for most of these summer league games for them to get their offense going. Last game they were able to do it. Can they continue to do that? And, as we continue to watch Jordan Ford, can he put together another good performance and try and earn himself a training camp invite? Can Colby Jones continue to show little things, or can he even show another level of comfort now that he's got a couple games under his belt? Doesn't seem like we're going to get we aren't getting Neemias Queta actually for the remainder of Summer League. So there's the storylines and things to watch are definitely dwindling here.
Yeah, it's Summer League. So obviously you'd love for the team, if you're in front office or the coaching staff, you'd love to have some more games to play. Right. But a huge game for a guy like Jordan Ford, because you never know, this may be my last chance to make an impression for a while.
Yeah. I mean, if he goes out there and has a dud, it's definitely not over for him, but it's definitely
that's not going to happen. All right.
I don't think
Stop
so.
That right
No,
there.
I really don't think it will happen. It's been stated a lot that they just don't have many scorers on that team. And so he's going to be always looked at to pick up the scoring load on this squad. And, he's stepped up more times than not so far this summer. But there's always somebody else that you can look at. And that's kind of something I was thinking about yesterday when it comes to Jordan Ford. I'm trying to not get lost in the Summer League hype, because just because he's what is in front of me doesn't necessarily have to mean that he's the best player available. Realistically, it's Jordan Ford. He probably has the pole positioning for getting that spot. But, if you're Monty McNair, you can't just be considering Jordan Ford. You have to think, okay, Jordan Ford or Quinn Cook, a guy that the Kings brought in training camp last year. It's Jordan Ford versus the world, pretty much. It doesn't have to be Jordan Ford just because he's on this summer league team. If you're Monty McNair, you need to be looking at every available point guard.
Where do you think the expectations are for Kings fans? Not as far as tonight goes, of course, but as far as the upcoming season. Where were they a year ago? Where should they be right now? Obviously, a year ago, people were still talking about, hey, playoffs, right? Maybe the play in, and then you get in. Yeah, and there was a debate. Well, if you get in the play in, is that the playoffs? Because people thought that might be about where they land.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they far exceeded that. So where are expectations now? Where should they be? I mean, if this team gets bounced out of the first round of the playoffs, do you think fans would be,
yes,
a step back? Really?
Yes. I don't think I think you and I are on the same page that there's a universe where that can happen, and yet you still feel positive about where the steps that you took and where you're at moving forward. But the consensus that I've gotten is that it's second round. You have to make the second round or else you didn't improve. I disagree with that, but I think if you were to poll a majority of fans, that's what they would say is this team. Well, they were a first round team last year. I'd like to see them get to a second round or maybe even a third round. Why not? I mean, that was also kind of the vibe that we got from the free agency and where people were trying to swing in free agency. People want this team to take a clear and obvious next step. And I think, if you look at it, the clear and obvious next step would be advancing in the playoffs, not just making it.
Yeah.
I disagree, but I think there's a pathway next year where the Kings win 40. They won 48 last year. I think they can win 40, exactly the same amount of games. Probably won't finish as a 3 seed, maybe finish as a 5 or a 6 seed, get eliminated in the first round. But we say, okay, I think we learned maybe Sabonis has a better playoff series and we feel better about him moving forward. Maybe De'Aaron Fox takes another leap, even if it's not enough. What if the Kings just, again, run into an incredibly tough first-round opponent? Are we going to kill them just because they lost to a team that is probably equal to or maybe even better than them on the floor? I don't think that we should have that cut and dry of expectations. I think it should be something much like last year that evolves as the year goes on. I think it wasn't a goal for the Kings to win a playoff series until they were the 3 seed and people convinced themselves that, okay, you should be better than a team like Golden State. But how it plays out is, I would say I think the Kings were a better team than Golden State last year, but I think that the experience was a very big factor in Golden State eventually pulling through. I think that they were just a lot more calm and comfortable. And if the Kings were able to hit their shots, they would have won the game. But I think that boiled down to the level of discomfort that they felt across the board.
I think the playoffs should be the goal again after 16 years, no playoffs. You get in the playoffs, that's great.
Yes.
And then obviously
whatever happens.
Felt last year they were good enough to advance. They didn't. But the expectations that, you got to get out of the first round. I don't think I don't think it's realistic. It's certainly possible. The Kings kind of remind me of where they were the lockout year in 99 when they hadn't made the playoffs in a while. And then, of course, it's only been a couple years since they played Seattle in the playoffs. But that weird lockout year, they finished strong. They play Utah. They get into the playoffs. They're knocked out by the Jazz. The next year, I remember people were talking about, hey, maybe this team wins 50 games. This was a good team. And they won 44 and 38. They ended up getting knocked out of the first round by the Lakers 3-2. And I think that's kind of where the Kings are this year. They're certainly capable of doing better,
right?
But it's also quite possible they could be better this year and not win as many games.
Yeah,
in the regular season. That could happen.
Right, because every year is a new year and every year is different. Like just because they were this team last year and they brought back many of the same pieces doesn't mean that they have to find the exact same success. Other things happen, injuries happen, tons of other things happen. I think that there is an element of the Kings. The Kings almost leapfrogged what the schedule was. They were supposed to be a play-in team last year. And I think them being ahead of schedule threw off what people are expecting. I think if you would have asked last season before the season began, what is the natural line of progression for success for this team? It would be, okay, let's make the play-in this year, as in last season.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make the playoffs the next year, this season. And then after that, we can take off and see what happens after that, and we'll try and improve. Well, just because they leapfrog something, I don't think, there is an element of you get new information and you change your expectations, sure, but I don't think that this squad necessarily is as good as they were last year, and I don't think we should use last year as a barometer for what we should expect this season. Does that make sense?
Yeah, obviously it depends how it goes down. You never know, but I think making the playoffs this year, if you make the playoffs, you've got another good season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
the goal.
Right track.
Make the tournament.
Yeah.
What you do in the tournament is based off of the guys you have, and if we have good enough players, if we had good enough players to make the second round last year, then we should still have that same level of talent this year. It's just, again, how the league ends up shaping up is going to determine how far the Kings succeed. I mean, it's kind of that simple.
Coming up next, who's to blame for the Debo DJ hang up, dust up? That's next here. Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Cal Ripken in 2001 won the MVP there. Yeah, and then he hit the home run. I think it was off a Dodger Chan-Ho Park, if I remember right.
There's no way Chan-Ho Park was in an all-star game. If he was, that's
okay. Kyle, I feel like it's. I could be
Chan-Ho
wrong.
Park was a 2001 All-Star for the Dodgers.
Bro. Woo! Oh, Chan-Ho Park sucked.
Well, Cal Ripken hit it out of Chan-Ho Park.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
Right now at Wendy's, when you buy either a Dave's single, spicy chicken sandwich, medium frosty, or 10-piece nuggets, you can get another for just $1. Your dollar never tasted so good. So it's obvious what everyone will get, right?
Definitely nugs
Spicy
and
chicken
a frosty.
sandwich,
Dave's single and a frosty for me.
and a frosty. Okay, who said frosty and a frosty? Pick your obvious choice. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, buy one, get one for $1.
Limited time only. Price of participation may vary. U.S. Wendy's valid for item of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined in a combo or any other offer.
If you're ready for some leisure in your life, let me recommend El Macero Country Club, just 15 minutes from downtown Sacramento. Play our stunning championship golf course. Practice on our manicured short game facility. Cool off in our 50-meter swimming pool. Play tennis. Enjoy social events and mouth-watering dining options after a great day of play. We're now accepting new social and golf memberships for a limited time. Visit elmacerocc.org and put some leisure back in your life at El Macero Country Club.
At your desk, on your phone, in the car.
Whitey and Watkins
on Sactown Sports.
Need to catch up on something that actually happened a couple days ago. Debo Samuel, 49ers, doing an interview, and he hung up on a radio host. What? During the interview? Whoa!
Incredible. I cannot wait for people to hear this audio. I can't tell if it's petty. Who is really wrong in this situation? And also, there is a conversation of does Debo just need to kind of get over it? Does he need to get over it? I don't know. It's a very interesting situation.
This was from the Zach Gelb show on Tuesday. Debo, the guest, and wow, just listen to what happened.
Debo Samuel here with us. Well, something that is your call. I saw what you said about the Eagles back at the Super Bowl at Sirius, where if Brock Purdy didn't get hurt, you guys would have won that game by double digits. Why would that have been the case?
I don't know. That's old.
So do you not still believe that?
I mean, I do, but I mean, we're not. That we're not gonna keep talking about it. I mean, I said what I said.
Gotcha. So then what happens this year when you play Philly on December 3rd?
I don't know. Just wait till week 13, 12, whatever week it is. We'll show you.
Well, then you know how that's going to go down. You're going into Philadelphia. Those fans are going to be booing you loud. You have a message for Eagles fans?
Hey, guys.
Yeah?
All right, we're good to go.
What do you mean? We have Debo on right now.
Yeah, I know, but we're going to head into camp right now.
Are you serious? Okay. Thank you. There you
Thanks,
go.
Bye.
Debo Samuel right there. Doesn't want to answer a few questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're good to go.
Easy.
He's like, wait. We're I thought we were doing the interview right now. What was that?
First of all, this is great for Zach Gelb because now people are talking about Zach Gelb, and he
Right.
can go, I'm the guy that Debo hung up on.
Yeah,
That's good for him.
I ask the questions that the athletes don't want to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't wait for that
Zach Gelb.
promo.
Good for him. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Good for him.
And I think, he has to talk about it, especially, I think, isn't he Philadelphia based? I think he may be. So he has to bring all that up. And Debo clearly is like, it's old. I don't want to talk about it. Well, you have to because you said that.
Yeah.
You said those things, and you're going to have something. You can't just, no, I don't want to talk about it.
No,
sorry, guy.
not gonna help.
We're good to go. Going to camp.
It's like Marshawn Lynch routinely just not trying to answer questions. It's like, okay, well, guess what? This is going to get you asked a lot more questions because now people want to hear you do the thing. And so, this isn't going to stop. It's, I think it's sure. Is it a tired question, and has Debo answered this countless times already? Yeah, he has spoken very publicly about his distaste for the Eagles and said that he believed that if Brock didn't get hurt, that he believes the Niners would have easily beaten the Eagles. But dude, you got to answer the question. I'm sorry. It's the way the game is played. I know, Zach Gelb was kind of asking a kind of annoying question. Do you have a message for Eagles? No, I don't have a message for Eagles fans. I'm not stupid. I'm not trying to put bulletin board material out there, but dude, you do have to answer the question.
He could handle it better. He probably needs help. Maybe somebody, hey, here's what you do.
Exactly.
But he clearly is like, I don't want to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that. So
he also should have kept it pushing. Zach Gelb definitely should have understood, he's not going to answer these questions. I think maybe he got the exact reaction he was looking for. We're talking, like you said, everyone's talking about Zach Gelb and mentioning his name now. But I think
they call him ZG now.
Yeah.
You say ZG, people, oh, yeah.
Debo is the opposite Halliburton, or Halliburton keeps asking about the trade and can't help himself from answering.
Reverse Halliburton. Yeah. Well, he probably should not have said what he said in the first place, but he said it and he believed it. So, okay, here we are.
Yeah.
What's your message for Eagle fans? Hey, you know what? That'll be a good game.
It'll be a good
we'll
game.
See when we play there.
Do you have any other questions?
Yeah.
I respect it. There is a level of me that is screw that guy. He clearly was not getting the point that you weren't trying to answer those questions. And, why are you going to dig yourself a deeper hole than what you've already dug? It is, it is good for Debo to step away from that situation instead of making it even worse, which, whatever. It's just trash talk. At the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything. But,
ultimately, this whole thing doesn't mean anything.
Right. Ultimately, it doesn't. But
Debo's you could say Debo did handle it well because it's just this is nothing. Goodbye. I'm not interested.
This does make me, I will say, really excited for this match. Even more excited than what I already was.
This does?
Yes. Not this specifically, but just the nature of this. Is it a rivalry? I guess you could consider it a semi-rivalry.
Maybe a short-term one.
Yeah, a short-term rivalry. It makes me more intrigued for it because, Eagles players at this point, especially now with this, have heard enough about Debo talking about the Eagles. And I think at this point it's going to be all about the play. And Debo says, wait for week 13, or I think it is week 13 when they play.
That's my favorite part. He says, I don't know. Good. Just wait until week 13, 12, whatever week it is.
Whatever. I don't know.
I get that. If you're playing, I don't know. Something like that.
I know they're on the schedule, but I don't really keep tabs on exactly which week they're playing. It's going to be a really good game. That's all I'm excited for. Is that I think that is going to be a perfect. If it is week 13, that's like a month and some change away from the actual playoffs. I think it's going to be a good signifier of okay, we're now going into a different phase of this NFL season. That is kind of. I think it's going to be a good kickoff for no pun intended for what's to come for the playoffs.
Yeah, Debo didn't want to make it any worse. He certainly didn't do that. So,
no, exactly. I guess if you're on the Niners side, you are at least thankful that he didn't escalate the situation and didn't say, "Man, I'm so sick and tired of hearing of you Philly people and all y'all talking about all this, and we gonna take you." He really could have exploded and made it worse. I would say it was big on him to walk away from the situation. I think every therapist in America would be very proud of what Debo did.
Do you think the host, Zach Gelb, do you think at some point he should have recognized, hey, all right, we're going to move on here?
Yes, 100%. I mean, if
he kind of has to, especially the way radio is now, I think it's
you have to keep pushing those buttons.
Yeah, keep pushing on that. I don't think it's right, but I think in a way, I think he's unfortunately doing his job there.
That's more of just that's more of a sad state of where we are as a medium, I would say, because I think you're right. Like,
especially if he's in Philly.
Right. I think every boss, every PD would say, hey man, like, that was great. That's going to get us tons of numbers, tons of ratings, tons of eyeballs looking at this, because if you would have had a regular conversation with Deebo Samuel, that's, oh, what have you done this offseason to get prepared for next season? Okay, what do you think about Trey Lance? There's not going to be anybody talking about that interview, but he got people to talk about himself, his show, and this interview. So
what Deebo said, what he originally said, do you think he was right?
No, I don't think so. I think because of the matter, he was like, we would have beaten the Eagles had Brock Purdy. No, I don't think that it's as cut and dry.
Even if he believes that, he probably shouldn't have
said
that.
Definitely. And that's, you could say, A led to B here. And
yes,
it's why you don't go and give media anything, because once you give them something, they're going to hold on to that, and you're going to routinely be asked about it. And whatever. But also I don't want to live in this world where we're telling athletes don't be honest. Like, if Deebo would have never said that in the first place, it doesn't build the intrigue. It doesn't build the interest in that matchup. It might even be especially from a casual viewer, like oh yeah, I forgot that the Niners even played the Eagles in that conference title. I just, I remember the Eagles. I remember Brock Purdy went out and the rest was history, but now it brings a level of excitement to this next matchup. And, I think it kind of is I don't know if the Eagles view it that way, but I think the Niners are definitely looking at these guys like they're the team to beat.
Bless him for having faith in his team. If his team doesn't win the next time they play the Eagles, he's really going to hear about it.
Yeah, he's going to hear about it from everybody. He's not only he's going to hear it on the field from the Eagles, but in the post game, I think there's going to be some, hey bro, like,
you better have that lady handy, because she's going to have to fend off a lot of requests and calls and questions, and we're going to camp now.
Hey, we're I think we're good. I think we're good to go. So yeah, you better keep her right.
Coming up next, how many sacks for Nick Bosa this year? The answer is coming up in NFL. Fill in the blank. Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Whitey
and Watkins
on Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports is your source for the 49ers.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful.
Did that leave a bitter taste in your mouth?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Me and Kyle had a long meeting the other day. We watched tape. We talked about it. We put it behind us, and just going through the tape and just look how sluggish and like how bad it looked on tape. Like I said, just reflecting on last offseason, it kind of played a big role in that. I never put nothing like that back on tape again.
Tune into Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com for the latest 49ers offseason developments.
Get your superhero squad together and join forces as we take on the Minnesota Twins on Saturday, July 15th during Marvel Superhero Day. All fans can enjoy this special Marvel-themed day at the ballpark, along with fun photo opportunities, character appearances, and in-game features as part of the fun. Get there early to snag a Captain Marvel bobblehead presented by Extra Mile. Tickets start at just $10 and are available at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Hey kids, it's Carmichael Dave from my good friends at Fire Wings, the perfect fast casual eating establishment for the entire family. A great place to enjoy all the ball games from all around the country with 21 delicious flavors to choose from. Bone in, bone out. For more convenience, order online. Go to firewings.com. Find a location near you. Grab that order online and tell them Carmichael Dave sent you. Fire Wings. Hey, just wing it.
When the world's best players get fitted for new golf clubs, they want to see their ball flight outdoors. And why should you settle for any less? The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is the area's unquestioned leader in delivering a new age of golf club fitting to Northern California. With 14 trained, skilled professionals to show you how to hit the ball farther and straighter, satisfied customers have increased their yardage, improved their games, and gained confidence. Call 916-808-2531 to get started. That's 808-2531 for longer, straighter drives. Did you know about 1/3 of our lives is spent sleeping? Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. If we're going to spend that much time in our bedrooms, then our bedrooms ought to reflect our personalities. I remember many weekend mornings when our kids would jump into our beds trying to coax us to start our days more on their schedules than ours. Naturewood Home Furnishings' huge bedroom sale is here, and there's no better time to find the perfect accent piece for your bedroom, or even better, to start fresh by designing your bedroom to fit your lifestyle. From a new mattress and foundation to dressers to nightstands to lamps and more. Naturewood Home Furnishings will help you create a space from simple to luxurious and anything in between. Just drop by and let Naturewood's team help you envision a bedroom fit for 1/3 of your life. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable bedroom sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water reel.
Y'all ready to do it again, Sacramento? Country in the Park 2 is coming to Heart Health Park at Cal Expo Saturday, September 9th with Cole Swindell, Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, and more. Plus, a mechanical bull, line dancing saloon, and all the food. Tickets start at $40 or grab your Coors Light Y'all Access passes for $125. For more info, visit SactownSports.com. Country in the Park 2, brought to you by Hoblet Dodge, E2 Family Winery, and Hyatt Vacation Club.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
PGA.com reported that no matter how long you've played golf, you've found things that annoy you on the course. Here's their top 9 pet peeves. Number 9, do you think I can hit yet guy? He hit his tee shot 200, but he's waiting for the green to clear from 250. 8 is where's the beverage card guy who always need more aiming fuel? 7 is the since I'm not playing well, I'm going to complain about everything. 6, leave the green messy guy who refuses to fix a ball mark, spit sunflower seeds, and tap cigar ashes on the green. 5 is the member who acts like he owns the course guy. He's no favorite of the superintendents. Then there's the 1 second, let me count my strokes guy. If you've hit that many shots, just pick it up. 3 is the oblivious to open holes in front and people on our tail guy. 2 is the cell phone talker guy. Hey, we're playing golf here. And number 1 is the good Lord, they're pairing a woman with us guy. While these guys are looking in the woods for a ball, the lady is kindly waiting in the middle of the fairway. What are your pet peeves? That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Sactown Sports
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlato with your Sactown Sports headlines. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that the Boston Celtics center's Kristaps Porzingis has signed a 2-year, $60 million extension with the team. The Celtics acquired Porzingis in a 3-team trade that sent guard Marcus Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies. The Celtics will now have Porzingis under contract through the 25-26 NBA season. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has announced its semifinal nominees for the 2024 class, and 2 former 49ers have made the list. Former Niners running back Roger Craig and former Niners head coach George Seifert will both have a chance to make it to Canton next year. For more on the possible Hall of Famers, check out Sactown Sports 49ers Insider's Emil Fregoso's story on SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
I don't understand this. The Dallas Mavericks had Porzingis, and he and that guy who shall not be mentioned.
Yep.
That was a pretty potent 1-2 punch, but they got rid of Porzingis. They end up now with Kyrie. Are they really in a better spot? I know they've done a lot of other things that look like pretty sensible moves this offseason, but they had Porzingis. They move on from him, and he's played really well.
Yep.
Now the Celtics give him a huge deal, and they're paying Kyrie Irving.
Am I allowed to talk about this? Can
you don't have, yeah, you
Okay.
could, yeah.
Okay.
He mentioned, Chris mentioned number 77 on
The
L
L word
far too often early in the program.
I agree. I think there's a lot of hype behind the Dallas Mavericks right now. I don't fully understand it. I think they have some solid guys, but I think the problem, like, they don't have nearly enough veterans, and their team doesn't really make much sense. You have Kyrie Irving, you have Tim Hardaway Jr., you got Luka, or I'm sorry, the L word. And then their bigs are really not that great. I mean, they have, they traded for Rashawn Holmes. They still have JaVale McGee. They drafted Derek Lively. Is Omax Prosper going to be somebody who starts for them? I mean, they went from a team who had a lot of continuity these past 3 to 4 years to a brand new roster, and one that just, when you look at the pieces, it's really hard to see how they're going to fit as a team. Like, I don't really understand how each individual piece makes each other better.
I think they moved on from Porzingis because he and your boy didn't necessarily get along.
Yes.
And they were already at that point trying to make sure, we got to make sure Luka doesn't want to leave here. So they're catering to him, and they end up moving on from Porzingis to bring in Kyrie. Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different problem.
Great for the Kings.
It is.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think Kyrie makes them, head and shoulders better than they were last year, even with a full off season. Kyrie's got a new deal, so it's not even like he's going to be working for a contract or anything. I don't think Dallas is going to be a top 4 or 5 seed. I think they're probably going to be a lot closer to a play-in team next year, but that is also going to be incredibly heavily reliant on if Luka can play 70 plus games.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no way they can hold this ship afloat without both of their stars, in my opinion.
Speaking of expectations, and I know we have enough fill in the blank. If we have to, we could hold it over, but we have that coming up. Speaking of expectations, you and I were just talking about Kings expectations on the YouTube chat. Somebody pointing out here that you and Drapes apparently got into it a little bit.
We did.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Let's see. Big E, I like when Drapes was on here, told Chris the expectations are definitely second round this season.
Got a little
Did
spicy.
things get contentious?
Got a little spicy in the kitchen, can't lie. Kyle just was adamant that there's no way that the Kings shouldn't make the second round. Like if you're looking at improvement, then kind of like what I said earlier, like a lot of people are viewing, you made it to the first round last year. Next year, in order for it to be a success or in order for it to be improvement, you have to make the second round. And I just disagreed. Like you and I agreed. I think there's a route to where you are playing better basketball, or at least are playing a better brand of basketball that is more, more cohesive with winning long term, i.e. playing more defense. And Kyle just didn't agree. Kyle asked me like if the Kings made the conference final. He felt like I was too focused on defense, but he was like, if the Kings make the conference finals but allow 150 points per game to their opponents, would I be happy? Or he was like, would you? You're telling me you wouldn't be happy if the Kings made the conference finals but allowed 150 points?
That's
and I was
impossible.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what I said. I was like, no, I would be furious. Yeah. I personally would be fuming if that were the case. And I think that there are routes for the Kings to show being a better, maybe more sustainable basketball team, but not record-wise showing that. I don't think they have to get over 48 wins. I don't think they have to get past the first round. I think if they play better defense and maybe slide a little offensively, that's a better formula to me for long-term success than we're incredible on offense and we're just trying to patchwork defense. Right. I just think too many teams in any sport, in every single sport, if you are too lopsided like that, you're not going to have a chance to win unless you have some great equalizer like Patrick Mahomes or something. Like maybe that could even things out, or Nikola Jokic. That also helps. I just think if you want to be a really good team, you have to step up on defense. And I think if the Kings step up on defense but win 43 or 45 games next year, I think personally I'll feel a lot better about their chances moving forward.
I didn't mean to dredge up old disputes, especially when Drapes isn't here to.
That's true. He can't defend himself.
Yeah. But I will say this: you go back to the Warriors when they had Mark Jackson, and they were not a good team, and they burst onto the playoff scene, and they won a first-round series against Denver, and then they lost to the Spurs, and it's like, man, they got everything going their way. The next year, they lost in the first round to the Clippers.
And
then they got Steve Kerr. So my point is, it doesn't always go
it's not
in linear fashion.
Exactly.
And sometimes you're up, you're down, and then whoop. So,
it's a journey. It's a road. Yeah. Everyone's got a different roadmap. Like I think, just
life is a highway.
It is. And, you got to ride it all night long sometimes.
Verlon waved that off.
I can't get over. I can't get over that. There's nowhere to go with that.
Yeah, I know where we go. Let's go to Chris Verlon. It's time for and fill in the blank.
That is right, gentlemen. Let's.
Sorry, were you doing something?
Huh? I was preparing myself like, oh, this is obviously going to the next segment, but I got it set up now. Nick Bosa will have blank sacks next season.
I'll go with 20. He had 19 and a
Ooh.
half in 2021. He had 18 and a half in 22. I think he gets over the hump this year and gets 20 with Javon Hargrave, of course, helping.
I think Hargrave is going to maybe take a few away from him, and I know he's coming from a different position. I think he's going to level off around. I'd put the over under at 15 and a half, and I'd say 16. I think he's going to come down a little bit from last year, especially if he gets his deal, a little less motivation. He's going to have a phenomenal year.
Sure.
But I think the number's going to slightly come down to 16.
16.
Chris going high. I got to give him the win for that
Thank
one.
you.
I love it.
Thank you.
All right, next one.
You should
Ayuk.
have said 30 or something.
Yeah, you should have.
Ayuk
Ayuk and Debo are a top blank receiving duo in the NFL.
I'd say, can I go first?
Go ahead.
I'd say I got them like top 8, and they're not their traditional type of receivers because the team runs the ball so much, but they're very talented. I'd go like Miami, Cincinnati, Philly, and then Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Seattle, the Chargers, and then you got maybe the Raiders in there. But I would go. I think they're right in there. Of course, you also have to consider Kittle's a big part of the receiving core. There's not a wide receiver, but Debo and Ayuk. 8th. They're a top 8 receiving tandem, and I think they'll climb that chart a little higher this year.
I have them climbing the chart. I have them as top 7.
Wow.
I have every single team that you just listed. I just have them above Buffalo. I have Miami above them, Cincinnati, Philly, Seattle, Tampa, and the Chargers all ahead in terms of tandems. But I think Ayuk and Debo, and then, I'm not really a Gabe Davis guy, but I think Ayuk and Debo are a lot more solid. I think Diggs is probably the best of those 4, but I think Ayuk and Debo are probably both better than
you have the 49ers higher, so I wonder who's going to win that point.
Actually, I'm going to give this a push. You guys are
Really?
very, very close together.
Wow.
Okay.
I think that's a push.
I'll take it.
Okay, something that
is this. We may only have one more here. Do we have time for one more?
And
All
this
right,
is something. This is for all the marbles.
Okay.
This is something that me and Chris are very high on.
Yes.
Instead of quarterbacks, the next season on Netflix, of the Netflix show should be on blank.
Because it's quarterback now as a show.
Yes.
Kirk Cousins and Mariota and
Patty Mahomes.
So what other position?
I've got kickers.
Okay.
I would love to see an in-depth life of kickers. I want to know what it's like. They just watch the game all day, and then it'll come down to the most important play of the game being a kick. And I want to see what happens in the aftermath of them missing, and what's it like the week after them missing. Do they take 100 kick? The life of kickers, I feel like we know absolutely nothing about.
I would say it's a guy who's involved in those plays, and I'm probably going to lose the point, but I do believe this. You ever talk to Tabor Pepper?
No.
Long snappers are crazy cats with crazy skills, and like no one knows who they are unless they do their jobs wrong. Then it's like, oh, did you see what happened? It's a strange breed. It's a very highly specialized skill. It's very difficult.
Wow.
Life of the long snapper. I would sign me up for that. I would watch everything.
He's even got a title.
Okay, you guys get 0 points for both the long snapper and kickers. I guess Chris wins this, but I was very disappointed at the end there.
What'd you want? Like receivers?
Wide receivers.
They're just gonna love themselves the entire time.
That's so chalky.
Yeah,
we're giving you
interest,
different.
Something new you can learn. I almost went like,
you're gonna see 8 episodes on 3 long snappers.
Oh, you got to check out the long snappers. Their YouTube videos, like when they're at one end of the court and they're long snapping,
do like skills challenges,
into the basket at the other end of a basketball court. They're incredible.
I'm not saying that they aren't.
Yes, you are.
The dude perfect of long snappers. Sure.
Coming up next year, I guess
no one wins. I think nobody wins that one.
You got the W, just barely, right? He won?
Yeah.
How much leverage do the Blazers have in the Dame trade talks? Barely not much. That's next here. The Long Snapper Hour continues. Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports. Catch the Oakland A's every weekend on
and Watkins.
On Sactown Sports.
I know Chris Watkins is a big Kirk Cousins fan, so he was watching quarterback last night. And we got some good suggestions here. Verlad just asked, well, what position did they focus on next year? Walter Carroll on the YouTube chat says fullbacks.
Oh, the
Bruno
use check show.
in Margaritaville says water boys, right along with Davison's coaches. Those are all good ideas, good enough, but long snapper is the way to go. So
I think the show that I would really want to watch, and maybe it's because I have a couple of friends who are in the field, but like grad assistants for college football. I don't know if there's like an equivalent of that for the NFL, but just the life of like these guys who
you talking like coaching interns?
Pretty much. I mean, like the life they live is crazy.
How did you do worse than football?
Bro, I'm telling
Field
you,
goal
like,
kickers.
if you watch, have you guys seen Last Chance U, the show
No.
that's on Netflix right now? Okay, see, that's why.
I've seen the basketball one.
So even in that, they go into the life of the assistant coaches and just how regular or just how not, I mean, like these guys are essentially getting paid pennies to work at these schools all day long, grind film, do stuff like getting their jerseys prepped, and just like the amount of like just weird things that they have to do just for the love or for the just trying to advance themselves in the career. I don't know. That's
Who's
what I'm
next on
interested
your
in.
list? The guy that runs out and grabs the kicking tee and then
No, the chain gang. The chain gang would be great. The guys who flip the sign and be like, some guys, one time it was second down and I accidentally had it on the three.
And maybe they changed it, but it used to be called Dial It Down. I think
Really?
there's actually a company.
Like the company
That's a Dial It Down. Yeah.
They probably monopolized the market on the chain gang stuff. But wow, that's maybe a docu-series on the making of the chain.
After watching the 4 episodes of Quarterbacks, got 4 more to go.
4 of 8, yeah.
I just want to see one with just Cousins. That's it.
Telling you, he's the star of the show.
Good singer, apparently. I didn't realize.
Oh man.
There is a scene where they show his high school tenor group, I think.
No, what is it? It's when you sing, but there's no like instruments.
Acapella. Yes. Yeah. It was like an acapella group in high school. And they called themselves the Extreme Tenors because they, I guess tenors are people who have high pitched voices, and they felt like it wasn't cool enough. So they called themselves the Extreme Tenors. And Kirk Cousins throws up their sign, which is an X, and then he moves it over to a T.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's
Kirk
who
Cousins,
I want quarterback in my team.
I'm peak weirdo, man. Peak weirdo. I was telling you guys
He's
beforehand.
doing these strange brain exercises.
It's so weird. He it looks like he has like a motion capture cap on his head and tons of wires coming from it. And there's a computer next to him that's like tracking his brain activity. It
must work. I mean, the guy's phenomenal.
No comment. I will say Kirk is a lot more under control than what he used to be in terms of his mental. Like, he does seem less frazzled than what he used to be, but he is still, even in the documentary, you can see that he just is not somebody who does well with impromptu stuff. He's just not. Everything has to be on schedule, on time, or else he was literally going. He was like Adam. They spent real practice time differentiating the difference between they have an audible for sombrero and one for halo. And he was like, what if during the game they think sombrero is halo?
That's a good point.
Spent like 10 minutes being like, hey guys, we have one called Saber, and it's me doing a light, like just way too concerned about.
Then they show the game and he's getting hurt. He's just like, I don't know.
That is by far the best part. There's
What
two episodes in a row where it talks about Kirk just taking big shots. Kirk led the league in quarterback hits last year, just taking shots to the rib constantly while throwing, people just diving right for his ribs. And he's mic'd up, so you can just hear every time he hits the ground, and they play the audio. It's
he sounds like that video of the woman that falls from stomping the grapes. That one, he sounds like that woman. He's just like, ow, ow, ow.
You should be able to find that somewhere.
It's incredible. I'm sure it's on there. So it's on the internet somewhere. But then there's also a moment he's running back to the sideline, and Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell hits him on the shoulder pad and is like, "Hey, Kirk, you all right? You all right?" He's like, "No, I'm hurt." And he is screaming on the sideline. Gave me a lot more respect for Kirk Cousins and just quarterbacks in general, but didn't look fun.
That's my whole question about him. The numbers really are really good. I know some people just don't like him, and they say, "Oh, he's terrible." Well, his numbers are really good.
He's great.
But I wonder, he's such a different guy. I wonder if there's something lost there as far as people saying he's our leader, we're following him.
Last year was a big year for him.
Yeah.
It was the chains, the Kirko chains. When he he's been that weird dad straight edge vibe for his whole career. And I think last year was a big moment for him, kind of relating, kind of like you're saying, like people were like, that's our leader. Yep.
Yeah.
That's our savior. And I think last year he did a good job of kind of learning the human element of football, kind of like what we were talking about with Mike Brown and Josh McDaniel the other day. It's just learning how to interact with your teammates is just as important as getting the X's and O's.
He apparently tried to trademark, "You like that?"
He did.
And I don't think he was able to.
Oh, and they bring that up like 5 times.
Oh, really?
5 times. Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible. It's a great watch, and not just Kirk. I mean, Patrick Mahomes' stuff is also awesome. He's just incredible. Like, really, it's just all the Patrick Mahomes stuff, and Chris said this earlier, is just him being great at football, and that's really the gist of his story.
Let's see. Pike 916 says soprano is high, tenor is mid.
Oh,
so
see?
I don't know.
There you go.
We're going to take a break, but for those of you watching on YouTube, we're going to stay with you on YouTube, and when we come back here on Sactown Sports, I'll never admit it, but I'm really happy LeBron is not retiring yet. And it looks like I just did. And as promised, we'll get to what's going on with Dame and why some say the Blazers really don't have much in the way of leverage. That and more coming up next. Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
All right, we're clear. Awesome. How's everyone doing in the chat? Oh,
frozen on YouTube.
he's Whitey says he's frozen. Oh, okay. Let's see here. This from Arthur Smith. I had to read it through. I think Sac will get to 50 wins this year. Actually, it's a big goal for Mike Brown, but after himself seeing Golden State win 73 games, it's more important to be healthy around playoff time and win for the seed you're looking for.
Yep, and that also gets to the whole thing about
You're good. You're on.
Okay. Gets to the whole thing about how the regular season doesn't mean what it used to mean necessarily.
Right.
Teams are just like, that's all well and good. It's kind of window dressing, though, as far as how many games you win, because we just want to make sure we're ready to go when the playoffs start.
Right. Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's what's the bull shirt? Don't mean a thing if you don't get the ring. I mean, at the end of the day, you can have a great regular season, and the Kings were a fantastic regular season last year, but didn't mean much in the end. So I think
they were one of the teams that did take the regular season seriously.
They did.
Denver did as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what do you think about this? We talked about the play-in tournament yesterday. I actually think the Kings are weirdly a perfect team to bet to win the play-in tournament. Like,
you mean the in-season?
In-season. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
the in-season.
Okay.
Did I say play-in? I meant in-season tournament. Just because we've talked about the incentive for other teams. Like, LeBron James isn't going to give the in-season tournament his all, but I think a team like Sacramento, like, that would actually mean something for them.
I think you'd have to be you're a very smart guy. I don't mean you, but I think you'd have to be a moron to bet on who's going to win the in-season tournament, because we have no idea if teams are going to take it seriously or not.
Yeah, I mean,
why would you bet on that?
People bet on crazier things.
Yeah, what's crazier, that or betting the Summer League?
Summer League, definitely Summer League. I mean, there are people who bet the Summer League champion as well. I could not be me, but yeah, I mean, it's
why. I'm sorry. Why do you think the Kings are the perfect team to win the?
I just think they're young. They don't have any other
IST?
accolades. Yeah, the IST. That's probably a lot better than in-season tournament. Way too wordy. Can we just NBA Cup? Like, why not? The trophy is called the NBA Cup. Why not just name the tournament the NBA Cup?
Yeah.
But I just think they're a young team. They haven't done anything. They haven't won anything, and it would be kind of like how the Kings would go pretty hard for summer league tournaments. I think that they're going to kind of view this in-season tournament as still as a thing to be coveted. I think especially a guy like Mike Brown, he would instill that this matter, like winning something. You want to build a winning culture, and winning a basketball tournament it doesn't mean nothing, at least in terms of juice and, motivation, I think.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the thing is, we win here. If we're going to play a game and they're keeping score, we might as well win.
And they're still regular season games. Like, it's not like they are a completely different entity. You still have all of the same incentive you would have to win any other regular season game. If anything, it's just added incentive.
You know why I would never bet on that, at least not now, the IST, because the group thing is such a crapshoot. You play 4 games.
Sure. Yeah.
And then teams come out of, there's tiebreakers. A lot of teams going to be 2-2.
Yeah.
It's not even necessarily going to be based on who the best team is.
Yeah.
Check out Whitey and Watkins now on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and watch the show from your desk.
Here's a betting tip for you. Chris Watkins says the Kings winning the in-season tournament, easy money.
I just think that there's not a lot of teams that are going to have incentive to win it.
I'm exaggerating a little, but you like their chances.
I like their chances.
I would not come close to betting anything on the in-season tournament.
Plus 250 to get out of the group. Okay, that's one of the better odds of anybody. I just think that there's not. When you look at Golden State, like. What's an in-season tournament going to mean to Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Draymond? Those guys are into championships. I'm not saying the Kings aren't into championships, but it's something that they can take out of this season. It's better than winning no trophies at all, right? I mean, I think Mike Brown is the exact kind of coach too who would push his guys to be the ones to set the tone for this. Like if we're playing Golden State, telling them, hey, like I don't think Chris Paul and Steph and all these guys are going to care. Let's care more and win this thing and get out of it. And you can at least take it. And I just think it could be a good motivator. And, if you win a tournament, you can harken back on that and say, look, guys, like we have a history of putting this thing together. Even if it's just for motivation sense, I think that there's a team like the Kings could definitely benefit from winning it.
Who else is in the group? How motivated would they be based on
it's other young teams in the Kings group?
We know, because you got Spurs, right?
Spurs, Thunder, and T-Wolves, besides the Warriors, are the other teams. Those are all really young teams. I think the Thunder are another team that would really like to win it. It would be
saying they win that group easy. I heard that somewhere.
Maybe I was ready to fight.
And I said that just to make Verlon mad.
Yeah,
and it worked.
I think that they could. I mean, I think it's going to be the younger teams that care about this more than some of the older veteran teams, because it's something that they can hang their hat on. And when you try and say you're trying to build a winning culture, a trophy would be a really good representation of that. And it would be a good reminder for the squad of what they're capable of doing. I doubt all 30 NBA teams will care, but I do think that there's going to be 10 or so teams who do care and have a legitimate shot of winning. Like, I don't think the Rockets necessarily are going to be a team that's going to be vying for this, but maybe the Orlando Magic, teams like that who have young cores and are trying to get out of this losing mentality, this routine losing franchise, just feeling and bring some winning.
I'm not as excited about the in-season tournament as you guys are, but here's one reason why I think you may be right. There are a lot of teams that had roster changes this year. That happens every year. We had a lot this year, and it takes teams a while to sort things out.
Mm-hmm.
And the freaking in-season tournament is in early November, and the Kings
it's like a
are
month
already,
into the season.
They got a few things like Duarte and Sasha to work in, but they know what they're doing already, and everybody knows their roles.
Right.
They're going to have a huge advantage early in the year in that sense over teams like you mentioned Houston. Not that Houston necessarily is going to contend for anything, but they barely know each other.
Right, exactly.
And it takes teams a while, especially basketball, to become connected and cohesive.
Yeah, and that's part of that is why Monty's bringing back the squad that they have, is they can have that benefit of not just in the tournament, but for the regular season. getting off on the right foot. There shouldn't be much of any stumbling done to start the season this year for the Kings. I mean, let's not forget, Kings started last season 0-4, and it felt like the Kings, like the floor was going to fall out from them, and it was going to be another bad season. If they could have the season they had and not start terribly or start 0-4, I know they turn it around immediately after that, but if they can get off to a better start than most teams, that could be another path for, the Kings having a better regular season than what we're expecting. I think, continuity is going to be something, especially to start the season, that's going to be big, especially when you're going against teams like Phoenix and, Golden State.
I was really surprised that first win of the year over Miami, the first lighting of the beam, didn't get more consideration yesterday at the Beamies.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a very few, very, very few votes for it.
Nothing really memorable about that.
Yeah,
I remember the first, because I think they played Miami twice in the first handful of games. I remember the Tyler Hero travel more than I remember whatever. I don't remember. There
goes Ty Hero.
Man, Tyler
Watch
Hero
him as he travels.
Speaking of Tyler Hero, I mean, that I just don't understand what I mean, he cleared all of the Miami Heat stuff from his socials.
Yeah.
It seems like he's good as gone, but I don't, not to change the subject completely, but I don't know where he's going to go. I was thinking about it yesterday. If he's going to be the main piece in a Dame trade to Portland, why would Portland want Tyler Hero, especially if they are already going to have Shaedon Sharpe, they're going to have Scoot, and they're going to have Anthony Simons. Those are all guards. What do they need Tyler Hero for?
Well, that's one of the big problems, we think, and that's one of the reasons why David Griffin says that, and he's with New Orleans still, right?
He is, yeah. He's
Pelicans.
still, yeah.
He
He's
engineered
holding
that
on.
big trade, the Anthony Davis trade. He says the Blazers don't have much leverage, but they don't. Yeah, Miami's this is the guy we want to give up. Portland's like, well, we don't want him. So then you have to find a third team, and things get really complicated.
Yeah, I don't know if Tyler Hero is going to be Tyler Hero is great, but there also is Miami's viewing him as we just made the NBA Finals without you completely, and so he's kind of
your bucket hat.
Yeah. Oh my, his outfits are so bad. Tyler Hero is bottom of the league for fashion, in my opinion. I cannot do his style at all. So please, Tyler, get healthy so that we can stop seeing.
I just
like
anybody
outfits
that stands out, even if it's that's weird.
So you were a Kuzma guy then?
Definitely.
Yeah, just for the pregame fix.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wonder how this Portland situation plays out. I mean, I'm kind of tired of talking about it, but there's just
James' contract is so huge that I think they're really limited, and they can say, as their GM, Mr. Cronin, has said, we're going to take our time. But I don't think the market's going to heat up any.
Right. That's the
closer,
thing.
It gets to the point where if we're going to do something, we need to do it now. I think their options will be much more limited than they hoped.
What do you think about from the Portland side? So from Joe Cronin's side, him saying he's willing to wait as long as possible. Is there an element of they should just get this distraction out of the way, especially before camp starts in September? And I guess there's a couple, they have a month and some change before, the guys report back to the team. But with how Scoot, I mean, maybe I'm just way higher on Scoot after 20 minutes than most people are, but I would just be like, give this guy the keys from day one, and let's not start off with, you might be playing with Dame, and then 2 weeks later he's gone. Just hand the keys over to Scoot and to the young guys, and just let that era begin.
To me, if you're not necessarily serious about winning this year, which it doesn't look like they are, then you've got this asset, very valuable asset. There's no reason to, we just got to get this settled before the season starts, because then what? So I understand why they're patient, and I think it makes sense to be patient. I don't think they need to worry about the distraction of it, because they're probably not going to win many games anyway.
Right.
And maybe Dame, if, he's a good guy for Scoot to be around for a while until you decide where you're going to send him. But I just think it's going to be really hard to get anything close to, 3 or 4 first-round picks for Dame. He doesn't play as much anymore, hasn't played the last few years as often as they wanted him to play. And the contract gets so humongous and is such a drain on a team's finances. I think they're going to have to settle sooner rather than later, but just because, I think we've done all we can do here.
Right. Yeah, I just don't, and I don't know how they get that extra interest up. I don't know how they get, who's going to be, because if you're trading for Damian Lillard, Portland's going to want something significant back. And if they can't get Tyler Hero, well, then what is that third team that's going to be involved? What are they going to give up that's going to be worthy of that Damian Lillard piece for Portland? And also, what is that third team going to get back that's going to be worth? Is Tyler Hero again going to be enough for that return? Like, if we want to, whatever, Trae Young or Karl Anthony Towns are two young stars who have been, their names have kind of been brought up a lot. If it's Karl Anthony Towns, I would say Karl Anthony Towns for Dame is probably, I think Portland would be willing to accept that. But from the Miami to Minnesota side, what is Minnesota getting that they're going to feel is worthy of a return for Cat? I think it just kind of becomes a dog chasing its tail where you're constantly trying to make up value, and somebody here I think is going to get the short end of the stick.
If it becomes apparent that Portland it really does have a potential partner in Minnesota, then they get more leverage. The way it looks right now, and that's David Griffin's point, pardon me, the way it looks right now is Miami is, we're interested, let's talk. And Portland is like, you know what, we may not want to send him to you. And Miami's like, okay, fine. Where else are you going to send him? And right now, there don't appear to be a lot of other teams. Now, if Minnesota is interested, Toronto, I've heard some speculation, maybe Toronto's interested, then all of a sudden, then you've got some leverage. But the way it looks right now is Miami's like, go ahead. Where else are you going to send him?
Right. And that's the problem is I don't think that other thing is ever going to materialize. I think especially at this point, the more that Dame digs his heels on, or Dame's team digs their heels in on, we only want to go to Miami. I just think it's going to make it tougher and tougher for Joe Cronin to get much of anything. And, frankly, I also don't think many people are going to line up to take Dame's contract. There's only a handful of teams that can absorb that much money, and many of those teams kind of already have their guys set and aren't trying to move one of their bigger pieces. So
they're kind of over the barrel. It
definitely appears like there's not going to be many alternates, and it could end up being, the longer they wait, maybe even the worse the deal gets. Because if no other deal even comes close to materializing, Miami could maybe be like, wait, so why, maybe you should take Tyler Hero, or maybe Tyler Hero's now off the board and it's only picks. And you got to decide, if you're Portland, is keeping Dame around unhappy worth not making a move for the sake of making a move? I don't know.
If he's not going to be there, you got to get rid of him for as much as you can. And his value starts shrinking, then it's like, hello, we got to do something. So something to keep an eye on. I have to admit, I mentioned this earlier, not a big LeBron fan, but I am glad, and I didn't take seriously his talk about retiring, but I am really happy that he's not leaving. It's
great.
He announced last night.
It's a good thing.
As only he can announce.
It's a good thing for the league. I still want to see, maybe I'll come to regret this, but I want to see a LeBron Kings playoff series. I want that to be reinvigorated.
And we will bury the Lakers.
Yes, we will. We will bury the Lakers. We promise. No, we will. We will. Okay. Come at us. I think that because I don't think the Kings Lakers rivalry can truly be renewed without some really great villains. And I think obviously LeBron is a perfect foil for Sacramento, and also Anthony Davis as well. But if LeBron's not there and it were to just be Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves, it just wouldn't hit the same. And in order for that rivalry to have some juice, there needs to be some real tiny small market team in Sacramento Kings overcoming this massive market, biggest star in the world. That's the kind of juice that series needs in order to reinvigorate it.
I love watching LeBron play. I will miss him when he's gone. I also love watching teams that I'm rooting for beat him. That's a lot of fun.
A
lot of fun. And if the Kings were to do that, maybe this year, if they could beat him and his son at the same time, sign me up.
Or what if they beat him with his son? Maybe next year they draft Bronny or two-way him. LeBron stays in LA and we'll use Bronny against him. How about that? Sure. Yeah, so now you're on Team Bronny coming over to Sacramento.
I just can't imagine it. LeBron wants to play. He's LeBron, and it's like, I want to play with my boy, and he's just going to find a way to engineer that.
I wonder, it'll be interesting if Bronny goes to like OKC. Will LeBron truly be like, Yeah, I think I'm good, actually. I have a lot of things going for me here in LA, and OKC sounds okay, but I'm good. I think I'm good. Yeah, and also, I mean, will Bronny even be able to enter the NBA after next season? I saw John Rothstein, who's really tied in with college basketball, kind of soft break some news that it doesn't appear like Bronny James is even going to start at USC next season, and they're going to kind of use him as a super sixth man.
It might be a while before he's
think so.
Coming out of USC, and when he does, he might not be coming out into the NBA.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot closer to LiAngelo ball than anything else.
Coming up next, the Kings did not make any splashy free agent moves, but did they want to? Whitey and Watkins tackle that next on Sactown Sports.
Whitey
and Watkins
on Sactown Sports. Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa, Thursdays at 6 p.m. on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa, Thursdays at 6 p.m. on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Download the Sactown Sports app and listen to Whitey and Watkins on your smartphone.
Coming up, we're going to be talking about the NBA's biggest floppers. How many of them can you name? Just giving you a heads up. That's coming up. I think our next segment of the NBA's floppingest floppers will be revealed here on Whitey and Watkins. First, though, this I thought was very interesting. Again, John Hollinger in The Athletic. I know I reference him a lot. If you read The Athletic, I'm sure you read his basketball stuff. And he's a guy who was a former member of the front office with the Memphis Grizzlies. So he has a keen understanding of things like cap space, things like that I'm just like, I get an ice cream headache. Yeah. I'm working on it. I want to understand.
Numbers are hard.
Yeah.
They're really hard.
Yeah. Struggle. The percentage of the salaries that got to match and the new CBA. Anyway, this is what he says about the Kings. He's talking about how there were some very interesting things numbers-wise that went on this offseason. He says Sacramento walked away from some unused cap room, which we know, right?
Mm-hmm.
He says the Kings ended up in a position similar to Houston, when a couple of free agent targets got away and they needed to move on with other business. Now, maybe he's just making some assumptions there, but the Kings ended up in this position when a couple of free agent targets got away. So let's just take that at face value for a moment. Who do you think that would have been? What targets do you think the Kings may have had that got away in free agency?
Well, if I had to guess, I mean, how the reporting went was we heard that the Kings were close to reaching a deal with Harrison Barnes on his extension much before free agency. I think the exact numbers that were given out were like 85% done with the contract negotiation period, and then completely ghosted everything after that until they repicked it up and obviously extended Harrison. But to me, that tells me that they got to the point with Barnes where they knew what his number was, or at least a rough estimate of a range of where he was looking to get paid. They got that information, and then played the field. They were like, okay, we think we can get Harrison at, I think he ended up signing for $17 or $18 million. We know that number. That is our fallback number. What else can we get for that position? So I assume
Can we upgrade?
Can we upgrade? I assume they probably kicked the tires on Kyle Kuzma. That got to $25 million, I think, per year. He ended up signing for 27, maybe. So, I think that ended up being a little bit too rich for their blood. I wonder if they kicked the tires on Draymond Green at all. That's a name that you and I were talking about a ton in this offseason. I think that they definitely reached out to somebody in that blank period between HB negotiating, stopping negotiations, and then eventually signing him on the 30th before free agency actually started. So if I had to guess, that's probably when they did most of their searching and just ended up finding nothing that they really liked.
Kuzma, by the way, according again to The Athletic, $90 million guaranteed over 4 seasons. So some are saying it's a little more team friendly than originally thought. So 25.6, and then the second year 23.5.
Oh, so it's declining.
Then 21.5, and then the last year 19.4.
Wow, that's a lot more team friendly than I think anybody thought. I would actually be shocked if Kuzma. I mean, that makes him a lot more tradable as well.
It was originally reported at 102 over 4 years, but yeah, apparently it was 90 over 4 plus $6 million in unlikely incentive bonuses tied to team performance. If we win 60 games, you get $10 million.
Make an all-star game and MVP and everything, then yeah, you can reach that 102.
There is the contract does not include a player or team option and includes a 15% trade kicker. The Kuzma stuff, I know a lot of us looked at, hey, Monty was interested in him before,
right?
So it would make sense that they were interested, but I didn't hear any actual reporting that they were talking to him or that they were really interested.
Yeah, no, I've not seen any reporting of it. I don't think I think there was all that there was Jake Fisher at the beginning saying there's a lot of steam.
Yeah.
Essentially saying people were a lot of people were talking about this being a possibility, but nothing actually the Kings are actively pursuing.
See, I'm hoping they were looking at Cam Johnson.
I hope so, but
too rich for their blood.
I think that, exactly. I think the number he ended up signing for was about what every team would offer him, and probably I don't think Brooklyn would match. And the fact that that Brooklyn straight up offered that contract to him, I think was very telling of the fact that they didn't want Cam Johnson to go.
4 years, $108 million.
Yeah, that's a lot of cheddar.
Yeah,
that's paying him for what you hope he can be, not for what he is. And
I think also they knew that at least some teams, maybe the Kings, I don't know, but Detroit was very interested. So they wanted it, they had to offer something that's going to,
get it on their terms as well. Because if you're going to offer an offer sheet and try and make it as unappealing as possible for a team to match, you can throw in tons of
poison pills,
player option, and incentives that a normal team wouldn't want their guy to reach. I mean, that's kind of the game with the restricted free agency. But yeah, I think the Kings were definitely looking at making a swing. I mean, when you have $30 million in available cap space, and that's the third or fourth most after they made the Rashawn deal, Monty McNair was not going to just say, all right, we got all this money now, we're 100% going to use all of this to run it back. That's just not how Monty operates. He definitely took a view at every single possibility. I know that they have a big enough staff to run, hey, if we did this, what would this look like? XYZ. I just think it was a very calculated offseason, and they just determined, like you've been saying, I think all of the other offers were just too rich for their blood.
On the YouTube chat, Arthur Smith, who's had a very productive day on the YouTube chat, he says the Toronto guy might have been the only real bet besides HB, but he is like the rest of free agents, just too much. But the Toronto guys were, Van Vliet was
I assume
a free
he means
agent,
OG.
but OG was not a free agent. You would have had to trade for him.
Yeah.
And Siakam as well.
Yeah.
Siakam, I think, is a free agent after this year, unless he signs a new deal.
Yeah.
That's why some people think that Toronto and Portland may be a match. But OG, you would have had to trade for him. And trades now, like we were saying, when the Kings were presumably looking at that, trades now, it's just like it costs you a lot to
Right.
get a good player in here.
And OG's only got 1 year left on his deal, and he, from what I understand, has made it very apparent that he does not intend on re-signing with any team that trades for him. He wants to
play the
he
market.
wants to go look at his market and see what it is. And not saying he won't return to the team.
So you're
but
better off waiting and then taking your chances in
Exactly.
free agency.
Exactly. Yeah, you can always convince yourself that, oh yeah, we'll put him here. Just like everybody, who ends up coming to Sacramento. Oh, we'll put him here and he'll understand how much he loves it and he'll fall in love with the city. And then he'll of course want to stay, but that's a risk. That's a really calculated gamble that I just don't think Monty McNair wants to take that kind of risk and go. It wouldn't be going all for broke, but it would definitely diminish what you currently have. And it would maybe result in a better team for a year, but you don't want to risk what you could be giving up future asset wise. I mean, Masai Ujiri is a monster of a GM. He's not going to allow that deal to happen unless the Kings give up some of their younger assets. I don't know if it's going to be Keegan. I don't know if it's going to be Davion, but it's definitely going to be a lot of picks and presumably one of those two guys.
Don't you think that Vivek probably at the very least poked his head in and, hey, Monty, anything with Draymond? Don't you think we should take a look at that? At the very least, like, hey, you're the GM, but just wanted to see where you are with that.
There's no way they didn't at least have a meeting. They had to. There's no way, in my opinion, that they went through this entire offseason without even mentioning the possibility of, okay, what would it look like? Or what do we even think about Draymond coming in, especially with just all the history with Mike Brown, even Vivek as well. Like you said, I mean, he used to be a part of that Warriors ownership group. He knows how important Draymond is to that team's success. I think if it wasn't Vivek, it was probably Mike Brown, but I think that Monty also was smart enough to at least have the conversation of what would it look like.
Yeah. So if this is accurate, then the Kings did have some people that they were looking at free agency, but then once those people were off the board, it was like, well, we're fine with
Give us names.
Yeah,
I need to
we're
know.
not going to just go sign a free agent just to sign a free agent. Instead, the Kings will have roughly $1.4 million in leftover space with their room exception that can be used on an in-season signing to a multi-year minimum deal. And for the moment, they have an open 15th roster spot. So that's where they are.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, they presumably, I assume, will sign one of these guys on their summer league team to a two-way contract, whether it be Jordan Ford or Denias Kea. And then there's one more spot. There's one more spot after that, and it'll be interesting to see who gets the training camp invites as well. You can invite, I think, up to 20 people to your training camp roster. So there's still some names that can be thrown over here to the Sacramento roster.
Coming up next, we know the NBA is going to crack down on floppers, right? Well, the NBA's floppingest floppers will be revealed next, right here. Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports. The Kings are running it back.
He's got the bucket at the buzzer. Harrison Barnes. Alex Lynn just went above the iron with a two-hand throwdown. And that was as nasty as we've seen him in a Kings uniform.
And welcoming some new faces.
Oh, and here comes Vezenkov. He gets the big finish.
Fisher rejected by Mr. Vezenkov.
Keep it locked on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com for the latest Kings news.
If you're ready for some leisure in your life, let me recommend El Macero Country Club, just 15 minutes from downtown Sacramento. Play our stunning championship golf course. Practice on our manicured short game facility. Cool off in our 50-meter swimming pool. Play tennis. Enjoy social events and mouth-watering dining options after a great day of play. We're now accepting new social and golf memberships for a limited time. Visit elmacerocc.org and put some leisure back in your life at El Macero Country Club.
Hey, kids, it's Carmichael Dave from my good friends at Fire Wings, the perfect fast casual eating establishment for the entire family. A great place to enjoy all the ball games from all around the country with 21 delicious flavors to choose from. Bone in, bone out. For more convenience, order online. Go to firewings.com. Find a location near you. Grab that order online and tell them Carmichael Dave sent you. Fire Wings. Hey, just wing it.
Shop Folsom Lake Kia for all your favorite models at low prices and payments, plus low finance rates and zero down deals with approved credit. Go see my friends at Folsom Lake Kia right here in Sacramento for over 20 years.
Are you tired of your tee shots ending up in the adjoining fairway while the rest of your foursome is hitting it down the middle? Well, experts will tell you that being properly fitted for golf clubs will help you strike your drive center cut. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio and its team of trained PGA professionals are ready to help you get rid of your banana balls and duck hooks. Hagen Oaks Indoor-Outdoor Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
The Gold Rush Classic takes place July 13th and 14th in Rancho Murrieta. Come join the fun and play golf with a celebrity, or just check out the concert. The Gold Rush Classic, where the stars and guitars shine. For more info, go to goldrushclassic.org.
Hello, Sacramento. Doug Christie here, and I have something to share. Recently, I asked myself to determine the one most indispensable thing I use to do my job, the one I couldn't do without. The winner, forget the phone, which I live on, and the video editor, which makes my life understandable. The winner was the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Yes, the one I tell you about each week keeps me going comfortably supported, pain relieved, and vital. So it strikes me that if Good Feet is the most important go-to tool to relieve pain or just keep me going, shouldn't you give it a try? I think so. Come to the Good Feet store today for a free, no obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk. Experience the comfort, balance, and support of the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
Y'all ready to do it again, Sacramento? Country in the Park 2 is coming to Heart Health Park at Cal Expo Saturday, September 9th with Cole Swindell, Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, or grab your Coors Light Y'all Access passes for $125. For more info, visit SactownSports.com. Country in the Park 2, brought to you by Hoblet Dodge, E2 Family Winery, and Hyatt Vacation Club.
Make the Sacramento Rivercats part of your plans this summer. Head over to Sutter Health Park July 14th through 16th to watch your Rivercats take on the rival Oklahoma City Dodgers. This series includes the fan favorite Star Wars night on July 15th, which features limited edition jerseys and character appearances throughout the game. Stick around post-game on Fridays and Saturdays for the brightest fireworks show in town. For tickets and a full promotions calendar, visit rivercats.com.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
Sactown Sports
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlotta here, Sactown Sports Headlines. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that the Boston Celtics center Kristaps Porzingis has signed a 2-year, $60 million extension with the team. The Celtics acquired Porzingis in a 3-team trade that sent guard Marcus Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies. Celtics will now have Porzingis under contract to the 25-26 NBA season. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has announced its semifinal nominees for the 2024 class, and 2 former 49ers have made the list. Former Niners running back Roger Craig and former Niners head coach George Seifert will both have a chance to make it to Canton next year. For more on the possible Hall of Famers, check out Sactown Sports 49er insider Emil Fergoso's story on SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
Blood went a little PJ there.
Got there.
Lose the voice a little bit. What are you guys doing? Yeah. What if we had PJ Carlesimo and Doc Rivers on the same broadcast? Ooh. Just a rasp off?
Yes.
Hey, how's it going? Pretty good, Doc. How are you doing? Pretty good, PJ. Then throw Tibbs in there as the sideline reporter.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. Just destroying everyone's headphones.
My wife, Shinya, she's a speech therapist. And so every time she hears a coach doing that, she goes, he's got vocal damage. Yeah, every time it's really hard on her because she,
it's like nails on a chalkboard.
No, he needs to be quiet, but he can't. He's coaching a team.
He's got to yell.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be crazy if a coach said like, "Hey, I have to rest my voice, guys"? So
Well, I mean, this isn't funny at all, but George Karl, after he had those medical problems, he couldn't do it, and he had to have like his assistant, talking to the team in huddles and things because he just couldn't do it.
It's a rough job, that's the one thing you don't think about is these guys' vocal endurance has to be through the roof because they're just shouting for hours and hours, and it's quite literally their job. I mean, they have to do the same thing tomorrow too. Gotta get those throat exercises going.
Are we gonna have more summer league to talk about after tonight with the Kings?
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think this summer league squad is very good. I mean, trust me, I've seen some good summer league squads in my day.
I know you have.
That's Kings 2021 summer league team. Oh my God, they would run these clowns off the court.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on the Ray McCallum summer league squad. Oh my goodness, you want to talk about a stacked roster?
Yeah.
Come on. No, truthfully, I just don't. I think without Neemias Queta, it was very clear they had no bigs. Mike Daum was
lacking
running
in the front court a little bit.
They have much of nothing. I mean, Chance Comanche is their like longest player. He's not really much of a center. They really don't have any front court guys, and again, like the scoring is a problem for this team. It's just Jordan Ford, Mike Daum.
I love Mike Daum. You know what I love about him, and Brenden Nunes pointed this out, and we're going to talk to him at 12:42. Mike Daum was actually bringing the ball down the court.
Was he really?
Initiating like
I didn't even notice
handoff. I didn't either.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, he can really do it all. He's been incredibly impressive. I wonder if he's maybe somebody who gets a training camp invite. Probably won't get much of an NBA look, but maybe is a guy who climbs the ranks and goes to the G League, shows something in the G League, makes a 10-day, all that stuff. I mean, the path is there. I just don't think that there's enough real scoring talent on this team. I mean, Keon Ellis, great defender, has shown some scoring ability. He's going to struggle to put up more than 20 points in a game. I think we've seen Jordan Ford's cap is 20 to 25 points.
Jordan Ford's going to have a huge night.
I think he's going to. I mean,
huge night.
He's got to know it too. He's got to know this could potentially be his last opportunity to get some good tape out there. I would assume that it's a big Jordan Ford night, maybe a big Colby Jones night. And that's really all I'm expecting from tonight. I think it's unfortunately going to be their last one.
We are expecting the NBA, at least in the early part of next year, to crack down on flopping.
Yes.
That's going to be a big story, at least early in the year. Then we'll see what they do. Typically the NBA tends to back off of these things. Did you see by the way what Darvin Ham said about the Warriors? Yeah,
No.
I think it was just this week at summer league, pardon me. During their
I like summer camp. If they made this a summer, I would televise that. That would be great.
Steve Kerr, during the series against the Lakers last year, he talked about they flopped and they got away with it. And Darvin Ham addressed that, and he just basically said, I don't go there. I don't like that. I don't believe you should ever blame the officials for things. And someone said, well, he used to play for Phil and Phil did that. And Darvin Ham was just like almost biting his tongue like, yeah, I don't believe you should ever do that. So he was really upset at the implication from Steve Kerr that they flopped and they got away with it.
Yeah.
It wasn't implication.
Everybody
I mean,
flops.
out,
I mean,
came out and stated it.
everybody.
Yeah.
I also saw Darvin Ham said that you can mark it down. Austin Reeves will be an all-star. So maybe he's just kind of saying things these days.
I have here before me a list of the NBA's 10 floppingest floppers. Now, this list, just so you guys know, because it's going to be Verlade against Watkins head-to-head here in a basketball feud. This list was put together by a guy named Eddie.
Eddie.
Yeah.
Okay. Good old Ed.
Eddie Bittard, Fadeaway World.
Okay.
All right. But I've checked it. I mean, I don't think there's anybody on here where you're going to go, wait, what?
Okay.
And we can actually compare this to a list that, let's see. What's the guy that went to Duke now that is the JJ
Redick?
JJ Redick put together recently. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
So anyway, the way we'll start here, we'll have, let's see. You want to go? You get to go first.
Sure.
First. All right. So you get to pick one of the guys on here.
Let's play the feud.
Pick a name. Yeah. And then unless you get number one, Verlade will have a chance to top you. So who do you say?
Okay.
Top 10 on the board. Top 10 on the board. The floppingest flopper in the NBA.
I'm going to go with an older guy here. I'm going to go with a staple of flopping, Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry is the number 9 answer.
Oh, what?
Yes.
Oh,
number 9 answer. Yes.
This is ridiculous.
So can you top that, Christopher Lott?
I'm going to go with a guy that's got a YouTube page like Neymar, Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid is number 2 on the list. So that means you, Christopher Lott, have the option pass or play. Of course, if you play and you're not able to complete the list, then Chris Watkins would have one chance to get one of the names on the list. Or you can pass and put it all on him right here. And if he misses, then you would get the last shot.
I'm going to play.
Going to play.
Smart
all right.
choice.
Yeah, number 2, Joel Embiid. Number 9, Kyle Lowry.
I'm going to go with Chris Paul.
Chris
Great
Paul,
guess.
number 7
Great
on the
guess.
list.
That's too low. That's way too low.
Chris Paul.
I'm going to go now.
No strikes against you.
Steph Curry.
Oh, another great guess.
Steph Curry. Show me Steph Curry. And
What?
Really?
Didn't make this list.
What?
Did not make this list.
What?
They did not watch any Kings-Warriors games the last
What?
few years.
Strike one against you.
Okay, then I got to go Joel Embiid's teammate as of right now,
Oh,
James
yeah.
Harden.
James Harden.
Great guess. Good
Survey
guess. Good guess. Good
says
guess.
number 4 answer. James Harden. So far, as we said, 10 on the board. Embiid number 2. You got him. Harden number 4. Chris Paul number 7. Kyle Lowry number 9.
Someone that
One strike against you on Steph Curry.
Someone I know Chris would not have picked because he thinks he walks on water. Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic?
That should be number 1. That's the number 1 answer.
Wait, you're saying Luka's a flopper?
That's the number 1 answer.
One of the floppingest floppers?
One of the floppingest floppers.
Survey says number 6.
Oh, what is up with this
Luka
list?
Doncic.
This list is trash. Fadeaway World? Is that? Oh my goodness.
Fadeaway World.
Come on, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Batar.
I mean, they belong on the list. It's just he should be higher.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with LeBron James.
Oh my goodness.
LeBron James is in
That's
fact
number 1.
number 3.
Number 3
on the list. Well done.
Okay, who is this number 1? Who
I
is
know.
This
This
elusive
is-
number 1 who's
This
apparently.
is
This is.
okay, maybe this is Eurocentric.
By the way, I'll just point out JJ Redick. He said, and this was a couple years ago, but he said the obvious ones that stick out are who's number 1 on our list, and who's not on the list. He said, I feel Kyle Lowry and James Harden are good at exaggerating contact. And Kyle Lowry, yes, he is on the list at 9, and Harden, you got him to number 4. One strike against you. NBA's flopping his floppers.
I am going to go with, I said Chris Paul already.
It's getting tougher for him here.
Are they going to say Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant, KD, Kevin Durant?
Yes.
And strike 2 against you.
Okay, who is number 1? Okay, I
If
said
he misses, if he strikes out, then you'll have one shot at it.
Watkins prepared to steal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number
Got the
2,
whole
Joel
family
Embiid.
in a.
Number 3, LeBron James. Number 4, James Harden. Number 6, Luka. Number 7, CP3. Number 9, Kyle Lowry.
There has to be a Warrior on here, correct? I'm going to go with Draymond Green.
Draymond Green.
Good guess. Good guess.
If it's on there, you continue. If it's not, you strike out. Survey says number 5.
Oh, staying on there.
Draymond Green.
Staying alive.
All right, number 1.
I feel like we're running out of people here.
Staying alive.
And it's got to be they play enough to be like noticed for flopping.
These guys are all, they're definitely, it's not like some guy that I've never heard of him. And again, number 1 is not only on this list, but he was named by JJ Redick as one of the floppingest floppers.
Okay, all right.
But you've got 2 strikes against you.
This
It
is
gets
really
tough here.
tough.
I am going to go with.
Need your answer.
I'm going to go with Paul George. I don't like that.
Paul George. Strike 3. Strike 3, you're out. But you can still win. Because now Chris Watkins has one
he's
chance
gonna get the number 1.
to name either number 1 or number 8 or number 10. If he can do that, he wins. If he can't, Christopher Laud would still win the basketball feud.
Can I say that I got a text from the text line, personal text line? I'm not going to go with that answer, but
you can say that.
I'm going to say.
I'm glad you did.
I'm going to say Trae Young.
Trae Young. Good answer.
Trae Young. I'll tell you that number 1 on the list, he's hard to God, is Marcus Smart.
That was the text I got in. Shout out our next guest, Brenden Nunes, texted me Marcus Smart. Should have said Marcus Smart.
Brendan didn't want to text me, huh?
I guess not.
That's number 1 on the list. Number 10 is Devin Booker.
Oh,
I was gonna say Devin Booker, but I couldn't do that to my guy.
Number
so you were destined to
8
lose.
is survey says Trae Young. Congratulations!
Good answer.
Yeah.
So that means I get the full pot, right?
You won the whole thing.
Let's go. Is Marcus Smart really that obvious for number 1?
Well, he had one egregious flop that he got fined for. That was one of the floppingest flops ever. And I think, yeah,
I feel
but
like Chris
said,
Paul belongs at number 1.
Yeah, JJ Redick mentioned Marcus Smart, Kyle Lowry, James Harden, also Pat Beverly, who is not on the list.
Interesting.
Yeah. So again, the floppingest floppers 10-9. Booker, Lowry, Trae Young, Chris Paul, Luka, who should be much higher, Draymond, Harden, LeBron. He could probably be a little higher too. Embiid and Marcus Smart.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Steph should be on there. I don't know if Embiid should be that high.
Verlon can complain he didn't win, but
you have not seen Watkins can complain about anything.
Anything. Just give me something. Yeah, I mean that's not my list, but I think they got a good group. I would probably throw Steph in there. I would probably take Devin Booker out of there and throw Steph in there. Steph falls a lot.
Yeah.
Falls a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
He's
not
a
just
little
saying.
guy. He's a small guy. Brenden Nunes, he tried to help you. With the feud.
Just sent me a Marcus Smart flop compilation.
Yeah. He joins us next here. Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Cal Ripken in 2001 won the MVP there. Yeah, and then he hit the home run. I think it was off a Dodger Chan Ho Park, if I remember right.
There's no way Chan Ho Park was in an All-Star game. If he was, that's
okay. Kyle, Zeus, if my man, I feel like it's. I could be
Chan Ho
wrong.
Park was a 2001 All-Star for the Dodgers.
Bro. Woo! Chan Ho Park sucked.
Well, Cal Ripken hit it out of Chan Ho Park.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
Hey, movie fans, the Esquire IMAX Theater in downtown Sacramento is now serving adult beverages. Playing this week, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, the IMAX experience.
None of our lives can matter more than this mission.
I don't accept that. See Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1 on the largest screen in Sacramento. Getting tickets is easy. Visit IMAX.com/Sacramento for showtimes and reserved seating. Plus, join the free IMAX Directors Club for special member pricing on tickets and concession items each time you visit the Esquire IMAX Theater.
I'm Craig Ashton of the injury law firm of Ashton and Price. Whether you've been injured on a bicycle, as a pedestrian in a slip and fall, auto, Uber, Lyft, or big rig accident, you need Ashton and Price in your corner. When you call Ashton and Price, there's no chatbot telling you to hit 3 for accounting. You're greeted by a real-life person who will immediately transfer you to an experienced attorney. The consultation's free, and there's never a fee until you win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
If you want to hit the golf ball farther and straighter, the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio offers you the opportunity to experience the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA Tour professionals. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is an indoor facility that opens onto the driving range so you can see your all-important ball flight. With the advantages of cutting-edge technology and analyzing your ball flight, the Hagen Oaks professional staff will make you a better player. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio, Fulton Avenue at Cap City Freeway, or call 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 for longer, straighter drives.
Attention home services contractors who want to grow their business with more leads while leveraging their marketing costs to receive over 10 times the value in advertising. Subcontractors United is offering 40 home services contractors from architects to landscapers to participate in our advertising co-op. For less than $2,100 per month, you'll share in over $83,000 a month in advertising. That's $1 million a year in advertising for under $2,100 a month. And because there's only 3 subcontractors per category, not 3,000, your lead potential is unlimited. Generate more leads than you ever thought possible. Be one of only 3 subcontractors in a category and receive $1 million a year in advertising by leveraging the power of a united group. That's subcontractorsunited.com or Google Subcontractors United for more information. But hurry, categories are filling up.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street, right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 916-277-8599 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
At your desk, on your phone, in the car.
Whitey and Watkins
on Sactown Sports.
Hope things are going as well for you today as they're going for Chris Watkins, who earlier won.
I believe I won celebrity
fill in the
birthdays
blank.
as well.
Did you?
Yeah, won celebrity birthdays this morning.
Wow.
And a fill in the blank.
And the basketball feud on the floppingest floppers. Although nobody got the number one answer.
Well, somebody did.
Uh-huh.
Our
Nobody
next
played
guest.
the game, but our next guest tried to help Chris Watkins, and he wouldn't listen.
I'm too honorable.
Outstanding Kings reporter from the Kings Herald, the Kings Pulse, Brenden Nunes with us.
Notorious flopper also.
Bless you for trying to help Chris Watkins, but he would not listen.
Yeah, I'll have to text you next time, Whitey. Chris doesn't listen.
I don't trust you. I just don't.
And by the way, thanks for also sending him the compilation of Marcus
I did
flops. I guess you were not surprised that
I
Marcus.
love Marcus, but there's some ridiculous ones.
Yeah.
I mean, he was number one for a reason. There are a couple really ridiculous ones where it's just like two hands on him and he'll fly to like the fourth row.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
He looks like when you see somebody in a superhero movie, they get punched and they fly across the room into the wall. That's how he looks sometimes. Brenden, I want to ask you about Kessler Edwards. I know you had some interesting thoughts on him at the Kings Herald. How come Kessler Edwards hasn't been better in the Summer League this year?
I mean, I think that it's not the greatest context for Kessler Edwards. I think that he's a guy that, you know, ideally has a very limited offensive role and is kind of a fifth option offensively within the flow of things. And the Kings aren't really a team that just sticks somebody in the corner, you know, so there certainly are concerning aspects of what you've seen from him in Summer League, but I think that typically his offensive role is so much more limited and defined, and you appreciate his defense a lot more when there's a guy that you're sticking him on specifically that you want him to slow down. You know, it's hard with some of these other ones, like the game against Chicago. There's not exactly a guy like, you know, you're not sticking him on Dalen Terry and then looking at the end of the night like, man, he really shut Dalen Terry down tonight. So I don't think that it's the greatest context for Kessler Edwards, and I think that's important to keep in mind. But also not saying that he hasn't been disappointing, because he undeniably has. I just don't know that it necessarily means I'm not overreacting to it necessarily.
The other day on your pod, the Kings Pulse, great podcast, you posted your conversations, your one-on-ones with Jalen Slauson, Colby Jones, Neemias Queta, and Summer League head coach Luke Laux. I just want to know what you learned from those conversations.
Yeah, well, Coach Luke Laux agrees with your guys' vocal lessons, maybe sometimes being needed for head coaches. He says he gave Mike Brown a hard time last year about losing his voice, but he's already experiencing that. And more importantly, I think he talked about how he thinks this experience will make him a lot better assistant headed into next year. When it comes to Neemias Queta, I think the big standout was some of the things he's been working on this offseason, which includes sort of handling the ball, whether that be in post-ups or dribble handoffs, sometimes even bringing the ball up the floor. I don't know that we're going to see that necessarily, but he was working on it a little bit. And I really like to hear him say that he's been working on his core and coordination as well, because I think you can really see where that could come into play. And when it comes to his contract situation, you know, got the typical, like, of course, I'd prefer to be comfortable and have something settled, but not thinking about it too much. And Colby and Jalen, I took more of the angle of how's the adjustment been. You know, it's only been about 2.5 weeks. These guys have, since they've been drafted, they've gotten flown out to Sacramento, introductory press conference, meet the guys. They've played now 5 Summer League games between the 2 at the Cal Classic and 3 in Vegas. So kind of got to talk to them about adjusting to the NBA, and a lot of that has to do with the size, speed, and skill of every single player on the floor. And I think you specifically see Jalen Slauson struggling with that. You know, I think he's used to being bigger, stronger, kind of more athletic than most of the guys out there, and that's going to be an adjustment. And the last thing with those two guys is I think it makes a lot of sense, but good to hear that like Jalen Slauson is talking to Nene a lot and sort of gravitating towards him. And you see Colby Jones talking to Keon Ellis a lot. And Keon and Nene don't love being called mentors at this point in their career, but I think that word fits a little bit.
Brenden Nunes with us from the King's Pulse, King's Herald. I know we're in the era, Brenden, of positionless basketball. That said, realistically, how many different positions do you think Colby Jones will be able to play at the NBA level?
I think that we're talking 2 right now, but in the long term 3. He talked about how, we've seen him play 1, 2, and 3 at Summer League. And in talking to him, playing the point is fairly new to him. And they're sort of doing a point guard by committee with that second unit when Jordan Ford is not out there. And you've seen him fill that role okay. I certainly think he can defend 1s and 2s right now, and with a little bit of adjustment, maybe putting on a little bit of strength 3s as well. And say Malik Monk is out there with him, then I guess technically Malik Monk is the point guard and Colby Jones could be the 2 guard, but they could switch with who's defending. So I think with Colby, in my mind, you're talking 1 to 3, but he's going to kind of have to work his way up there. I think right now, probably 1s and 2s mainly.
Brenden, do you think Jordan Ford is truly worthy of being the Kings' third string point guard next year?
Yes.
Or are we,
Yes, he is.
or are we kind of getting lost in the hype that is Summer League, and it's just like he is the Summer League point guard, and so he should be easily transferred over to the big league club? Or, realistically, Monty is looking at not just Jordan Ford, but every point guard in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're looking at everybody, and I think it also goes the other way around. I think everybody is looking at Jordan Ford. He very easily could end up on a training camp deal with another team somewhere else. And I think it goes beyond just this Summer League. Like, he's been in Stockton for a while. This is a guy that has been in Sacramento system for a good bit now, a handful of years. And I'm a fan. I think of it as sort of a Yogi Ferrell sort of role, his potential in the NBA. And obviously they have their differences, but I think that there's something there. I like him as a potential 2-way. I don't know that I would be so stuck on not letting him leave that I'd necessarily extend one of those roster spots, but I could see the logic. He has his great games. He had that 25 and 8 against Chicago where he's just doing some ridiculous moves, but then you go back one game and he has 3 points, and then 20 in the first Vegas game, or you look at the Cal Classic, first game 18 and 3, second game 2 and 6. So there's some inconsistency there, but I think when it comes to like a break in case of emergency 2-way point guard, I like the potential there.
Catching up with Brenden Nunes back from Summer League. Around the league, as far as some other teams and other players that you saw, Brenden, who really stood out to you at Summer League this year?
Well, Julian Champagny is somebody that Kings fans should definitely be familiar with. He gave him a little bit of a hard time in the regular season last year for San Antonio, and also at the California Classic. He sort of continued that into Vegas. I thought he was pretty impressive. I also think that there's some other interesting guys out there as well. Obviously, the top picks really stand out, but some of the second-year guys, man, like Jabari Smith Jr. and the dump that he took, it's hard to not just be blown away by that. That Houston and Portland game was easily the best game that I saw at Summer League. There's a lot of different talent out there. Jordan Walsh, I think, is somebody that, if I'm remembering right, Chris Watkins really liked.
It's huge on him.
He's been playing great for Boston. There's a lot of interesting players out there. Leonard Miller, who was also, it seemed to be very polarizing from some of the people I talked to. It's either you love him or you hate him sort of thing as a prospect. And clearly Minnesota liked him enough to trade up for him, get him at the beginning of that second round. I think he's been playing good tonight. And my understanding, unless things have changed, is going to see him against Sacramento tonight as well.
Brenden, I'm curious because I was with you at Summer League last year, and we ran into just about every single NBA person in just about every single random location that you could. I just want to know if there was any random NBA sightings that you saw while you were in Vegas.
I mean, it's not random because Wembanyama's going to be there, but I think walking past him in a hotel is very different than seeing him on a court. And I mean, we've been around tall people in covering these teams, right? But that's another level of tall, guys. Like, he's ducking through a doorway that I never thought anybody would have to duck. Like, I can only imagine how the weather jokes that guy gets in a day.
Yeah.
The height is insane.
Did you visit the infamous Brittany Wemby spot outside that hotel?
I did unknowingly, and friend Sean Cunningham made me aware of where we currently were.
Yeah, that's very Sean.
Awesome.
That's very
Brenden,
Sean.
thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Glad to have you back. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
See ya.
Mm-hmm. All right. Jordan Ford.
Could be.
Big night
Could
tonight.
be, yeah. I think the two-way contract is what makes the most sense for him. It gets, like Brenden said, it gets to keep him in the system, but also you can give him a real opportunity and, in a handful of games. And I think the term he used there, breaking case of emergency, is, I think, the ideal spot for Jordan Ford next year. But
sure,
the thing about the NBA over 82 games, that emergency will come. Like, there will be moments in time in which Jordan Ford will have an opportunity to get at least 10 to 15 minutes of some run in at least 4 or 5 games.
This may have been wrong. Many times last year watching when Dellavedova was playing, I felt like there's got to be somebody else.
Right. I thought Delly was only brought in for mentorship. Like, when we were talking in the preseason last year, or in the training camp last year, the battle between Quinn Cook and Dellavedova, I was like, well, these guys probably aren't going to play anyway, and so you might as well bring in the guy who's going to be the vet leader. But watching him play, it was like, yeah, all right, maybe we should have gone Quinn Cook, because this ain't working.
I mean, he had his moments, but still, I just felt like there's got to be a better.
No, there's
answer.
better,
maybe Jordan Ford
developmental, or at least a better in the moment guy for it.
Coming up next, an announcement on the Kings and Vezenkov. Tell you what, it may take a while, and we'll tell you why next. Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Whitey
and Watkins
on Sactown Sports. Get all the latest 49ers news heading into the 2023 season on Sactown Sports.
I think Brock was smart, and we kind of facilitated that he met with a bunch of different surgeons. The hope is he's ready for the regular season. We'll take it as it comes, as we're doing. He's working incredibly hard, and the early returns are really good.
Sactown Sports, Sacramento's official home for 49ers football.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
If you're ready for some leisure in your life, let me recommend El Macero Country Club, just 15 minutes from downtown Sacramento. Play our stunning championship golf course. Practice on our manicured short game facility. Cool off in our 50-meter swimming pool. Play tennis. Enjoy social events and mouth-watering dining options after a great day of play. We're now accepting new social and golf memberships for a limited time. Visit elmacerocc.org and put some leisure back in your life at El Macero Country Club.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Did you know about 1/3 of our lives is spent sleeping? Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. If we're going to spend that much time in our bedrooms, then our bedrooms ought to reflect our personalities. I remember many weekend mornings when our kids would jump into our beds trying to coax us to start our days more on their schedules than ours. Naturewood Home Furnishings' huge bedroom sale is here, and there's no better time to find the perfect accent piece for your bedroom, or even better, to start fresh by designing your bedroom to fit your lifestyle. From a new mattress and foundation to dressers to nightstands to lamps and more. Naturewood Home Furnishings will help you create a space from simple to luxurious and anything in between. Just drop by and let Naturewood's team help you envision a bedroom fit for 1/3 of your life. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable bedroom sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
So I'm a public school teacher and I'm on my feet all day long. That would be on concrete. The pain would like shoot up my heels and just increased from the bottom of my feet up. Then my back started hurting. So my husband and I were driving and I went, oh, look, there's a Good Feet store. I'm greeted by this gal named Mercy. That was a perfect name for her. And the cool thing about the Good Feet store is that you're able to try before you buy. I had free fittings. She was able to fit me with special arch supports. And so I walked around in the store. Within 30 minutes, I started sobbing because I had no pain. Well, if your feet are hurting, do something about it. You don't have to grin and bear it. You need to go to the Good Feet store and get some arch supports. I'm Deidre, and that's my Good Feet story.
See how they work for you with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
KHTKAM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Ladd with your Sactown Sports headlines. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that the Boston Celtics center Kristaps Porzingis has signed a 2-year, $60 million extension with the team. The Celtics acquired Porzingis in a 3-team trade that sent guard Marcus Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies. Celtics will now have Porzingis under contract through the 25 and 26 NBA season. Pro Football Hall of Fame has announced its semifinal nominees for the 2024 class, and 2 former 49ers have made the list. Former Niners running back Roger Craig and former Niners head coach George Seifert will both have a chance to make it to Canton next year. For more on the possible Hall of Famers, check out Sactown Sports 49ers insider Emil Fregoso's story on SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Now let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
Seems like the Pro Football Hall of Fame may be the most difficult one to get into. Basketball Hall of Fame, because they take into account pro, college, high school, international. Some say it's the easiest. Obviously, it's not easy to get into any of them, but sometimes there's people that get into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Like, why is that person in there? They're great in high school.
Yeah.
Baseball, baseball seems like they want to put people in there. But the Pro Football Hall of Fame,
do they want to put people in the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Say.
Well, it depends who they is.
Yes.
The writers try to keep it a smaller, more exclusive club, and then the people that run it are like, no, we got to get people out of here for the induction ceremonies to get more people in there and get different voters. That's why they ended up with different voters.
Yeah, got to cast a wider net if you're baseball. I mean, that's the thing is like, I think this steroid era that they're kind of judging right now for the Hall of Fame ballots, it's if you want to get people to care about your Hall of Fame, like you're going to have to let some of these guys in, or else there's not going to be many people you're going to let in because there's so many people who have questions about it or were confirmed to do it. And B, it's just going to kind of delegitimize your Hall of Fame. If you don't have an entire era of the best players, there's going to be questions that have to be answered. And if you're going to try and be a representation of the greatest moments of your sport or the greatest players of your sport, there has to be some form of acknowledgement of those said players that made the game great during that time.
I don't know how I could ever check this, but my guess would be that there are more great players not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame than there are great players in any other sport. Maybe that's not true. That's the impression I get because there are just so many freaking players.
It's really tough. I mean, we were trying to do the exercise the other day of how many current 49ers will be in the Hall of Fame. And it's like guys like Christian McCaffrey, he's a fantastic player. There might not be a better dual threat running back with maybe the exception of Alvin Kamara in this past 8 to 10 years of football. But even that doesn't guarantee he's a Hall of Famer. Like, I think there's guys like, Fred Taylor. Is Fred Taylor a Hall of Famer? Did Edgerrin James? I think he just got in, right? There's so many fringe guys that you have to be better than that also had great careers. And
Frank Gore has to be.
Has to be in at some point, especially for the longevity. But also, I mean, he's got the counting numbers behind it. That's a good. I do think football is probably the toughest.
Too. Like I mentioned before.
If you're a big name quarterback, you're probably
look at how long Lorenzo Neal played and what he did as a fullback, but it doesn't necessarily translate into numbers. So it's like he's probably not getting in.
Right.
He gets nominated now and then, but you're not getting in. He was a great player.
I don't think there's many tight ends in, to your point. Like, is George Kittle a Hall of Famer? He might be like just on the borderline, maybe 1 or 2 really good seasons away. It's really tough to get in.
George Seifert, I think, has to be, and you win a couple Super Bowls as a coach.
Yes. I would think so.
That should be one of those magic numbers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, not many people have won Super Bowls in general. I think if you win, especially if you win multiple, like you should be a shoo-in.
Yeah. Anyway, as Christopher Lodge said, Emil has a really interesting look at that. Sactownsports.com. Here's the deal with Sasha Vezenkov as far as we know. I know a lot of people are waiting to hear, when are they going to sign him? When are we going to get an announcement? And I mentioned earlier that there was some interesting Kings news in The Athletic today in John Hollinger's piece. He also mentions that with Vezenkov, he said they'll have 14 players under contract, the Kings will, once they're finished signing Vezenkov into their room exception. And he also adds, the paperwork on that, I'm told, may take a minute. Having done an international buyout or two, let's just say it can be a sluggish process. So I think we're going to have to be pretty patient as far as that goes. It's just a complicated dang deal.
Yeah, it sounded like it. I had never really heard much of the buyout process before, but it was I think it was right after Mike Brown visited. I can't remember who it was that clarified for it, but essentially you have to, when you buy out, so Sasha has like $1 million buyout to his contract and for Olympiacos. It works that the NBA club can only pay half of that buyout, and then the player has to come up with the other half, and then there's tons of logistics in terms of, he's got to get his working visa, and he's got to, there's tons of other stuff, if I'm not mistaken, that come into line when it comes to him coming over, not just the contract stuff, but also the life stuff. He's got to move his entire life across the world. And I would just imagine that all of that stuff, is going to require some time, and, why get the contract done if everybody kind of knows it's going to happen.
I think that's the type of thing too, that is easier for you to pull off as a franchise if you have more stability like the Kings have now.
Right.
Because there are so many moving parts.
Right. And I would assume that it's also an element of they still have some roster spots available, and who knows, Monty could tweak salaries a little, maybe make Sasha make more in some easy incentive guarantees instead of having his guaranteed contract. It's more just so you can know exactly how much money is available for him to get, I would imagine. Like, what if Jordan Ford shows out in training camp and all of a sudden he's like, maybe I do want to give Jordan Ford actual contract. Well, we don't have any money. There's just tons of different routes that he can do. And I think this is more just a way of being sure that they are spending exactly how much money they need to.
I think they're going to need Vezenkov to be pretty good next year. I really do.
Yes.
I think that if he comes in, it's like, he's not ready or he can't play. That's unlikely. But if that happens, I think that's going to leave a mark.
It's a blow. I think when you look at the Kings' free agency moves, their big addition, their biggest additive piece is Sasha Vezenkov. I think they're banking on him being right behind Malik Monk when it comes to bench impact off the gate. Like, I think they're expecting him to pick up the offense right away. The fit should be perfect offensively. Some of the other stuff is going to come slowly, but I think he's going to be 20 minutes a night easy when he's like first couple games in the NBA.
Mm-hmm. One of the keys will be if he can rebound. Obviously defend.
Right.
To me, it's like he's probably
not going to defend. No, he's not.
That'd be great, but I'm not holding my breath.
Right. Well, Mike Brown talked about it when it came to Keegan last year. You have to do something else. You can't just provide one thing. It's great if you're a knockdown shooter. That's fantastic. I'm not saying you're not useful, but what else are you giving us? You cannot just be out there shooting the ball, because there's tons of people who can shoot the ball, maybe not to your skill level, but they can find someone who can shoot it close.
Even Malik Monk did more than just score last year.
He's a beautiful passer. I mean, he was their Kings secondary playmaker. You have to be able to whether it be for Sasha rebounding or offense. It doesn't even have to be specifically defensive rebound. If he's an excellent offensive rebounder, if he's a good cutter, if he's a great passer, I've heard that he's got good vision, but the assist numbers aren't quite there. Maybe he has an extended opportunity to play make in the NBA. He's just got to be able to provide something else productive for this team. Rebounding would be definitely the most helpful.
Yeah, I know Mike Brown said he really appreciated the way He was impressed by the way Vezenkov just went after the ball in
Yeah,
terms of rebounding.
tenacity.
And then also rebounding, as we all know, it's also such a big part of your defense because virtually
Ending
every
possessions. Right.
successful defensive possession ends with the rebound. So fingers crossed there. It's amazing to me to look at how much more stable the Kings are right now than another of other franchises. I know the Suns have not been especially stable, but they've got new ownership. Matt Ishbia says this about his Suns. I think this is a mistake. He says, we are going to win at everything we do.
Sons with a U, right? Not sons like his children.
Right. I mean, I understand why you want to feel that way, but to me, that almost smacks of we're light years ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to win at everything we do. It's just, I mean, that just makes me feel like he's delusional, honestly. I think you have to acknowledge that there's got to be spots in which you have to concede. Like, you're not going to be the best defensive team. There's just things that you have to concede. I'm not a big Matt Ishbia guy. He seems like he is kind of falling to it. I don't want to say Vivek. It's more of like Steve Ballmer coming in, where it's just a lot of energy, a lot of we're just gonna be great because I'm gonna throw money at this and it's gonna lead to success. And I think he'll learn, much like Steve Ballmer, you can't just put stars together and have it that's how the game's played. That's how you get good, but that's how you win.
Did you guys happen to see the Real Sports
No.
fluff piece on him?
No, very corny, very cringe.
Well, if he wants to win at everything he does, and he has been consulting with Isaiah Thomas, you are not winning at everything you're doing.
No,
already
you've already
losing.
lost. Actually,
yes.
I think. I don't know what exactly he's talking about winning everything at, because That's
what guys who run businesses do, because then we're going to do it all this way. In sports, you can't
win everything. Yeah,
there's too many other variables.
Other people also have that goal as well. It's there's a lot of people getting in the way of you doing that, and sometimes it is just random as well. Like, there is an element of just luck to winning.
We're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, why Kyle Shanahan is ranked a disappointing 7th in a new top coaches list. What's that about? We tell you next. Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports. Catch the Oakland A's every weekend on Sactown Sports. Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Sinking, that's going to get down for a hit. Around third to score is Tony Jack. And the A's have taken the lead. Edge of the track makes the catch. And the Athletics get a great win.
Sactown Sports, your weekend home for the Oakland A's.
Sactown Sports coverage of the Oakland A's is brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
Check out Whitey and Watkins now on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and watch the show from your desk.
Which is more stunning to you? I think I know the answer. Kyle Shanahan is ranked 7th by Mike Florio in Pro Football Talk on a list of the top 10 coaches in the NFL right now. He's ranked 7th. Or the fact that some in New England are saying Bill Belichick's on the hot seat if he doesn't win this year.
I would say the Belichick thing. I mean, the Shanahan, like, seven's pretty low, but you sure you want to be the guy who fires Bill Belichick? Like, I know it hasn't been nearly as smooth as what it was during the Brady years, but, just take a note from San Antonio. Like, sometimes you just got to let the legend call it quits himself, and if not, you should be thankful that he's choosing to stay and coach your team for as long as he wants, because I think Bill Belichick has definitely owed a hot seat free career at this point.
Belichick's friends fear Patriots head coach is on the hot seat entering 2023.
Ridiculous.
Per report. Part of the problem is, I'm not sure that Robert Kraft ever wanted to get rid of Brady, and Belichick, I think, was the one like, hey, we got to move on. We got to move on, and then we'll free up money. And I don't know that Kraft ever wanted to. Obviously, that hasn't worked out. I also read today that apparently Robert Kraft is very close to Mac Jones and his people.
Interesting.
Yeah. The Boston Globe's Ben Volen published on Tuesday a story highlighting how tightly knit Mac Jones appears to be with Robert Kraft and his camp.
Interesting.
That's not good for Bill Belichick.
Robert Kraft seems to really enjoy hanging out with players, not just football. Like, he's friends, like legitimately friends with Meek Mill. James Harden, I think, as well, is really close with Robert Kraft. Something about that 86-year-old man being friends with all of these young superstars just makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what it is, but it's weird that he has now taken the side of his quarterback now twice, and it's also kind of probably not a great look for Mac Jones if he does end up getting Bill Belichick fired. That's kind of a lot of pressure on you as the young quarterback to be like, now the ball's in your court. Okay, so Bill put the blame on Tom, and now you're putting the blame on Bill. So now that means that this is all on your shoulders. And I don't know if Mac Jones is necessarily capable of holding that weight.
The quarterbacking question. That's also why Shanahan ranks as low as he does on
that's ridiculous.
Pro Football Talk list. But as far as Belichick goes, it's one thing to say people say this or that. Here's what Robert Kraft said in March.
Oh boy.
Look, I think Bill's
Not a great way to
exceptional
start.
at what he does. And I've given him the freedom to make the choices and do the things that need to be done.
But
his football intellect and knowledge is unparalleled from what I've seen.
There's a big
and
but.
when you talk to him, the small things analytically that he looks at.
There it is. I think I could feel it coming. I'm like, there's a lot of compliments here.
But in the end, this is a business. You either execute and win or you don't.
Okay, he's fired.
That's where we're at. I think we're in a transition phase. I think we've made some moves this year that I personally am comfortable with, and I still believe in Bill. That was in March.
Boy, oh boy, Bill Belichick, start packing your bags now, son, because it is a wrap for you. It sounds like you've been fired months ago. That's really damning. That's that to come from your owner is not what you want to hear as a head coach. And I know Bill probably more than anybody is very secure in where he's at. And if he were to be fired, I'm sure he would laugh at it and say, okay, good luck with that one, buddy. But it sounds like he's all but fired at this point. And I mean, that's a lot of buzzwords.
Over the past 3 years, I'm sure you know this. Bill Belichick's Patriots have gone 25-25 over the regular season, failed to make the playoffs twice.
Sure.
The lone season they did get back to the postseason, 21, they lost to Buffalo 47.
Yeah, they got destroyed. They got destroyed.
Yeah. Remember, Tom Brady did pretty well with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that 1 year, if you remember, he did that thing.
So if it's true that Belichick was the one saying, look, Robert, it's time to move on. Kraft's like, I love Tom Brady. Are you sure? Yeah.
He's done.
Wait a minute. What's going on here? I mean, you're a great coach, but in the end, this is a business.
I promise you, Tom, we can win without Tom. It's okay. I believe in Mac.
So something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I'd be surprised, but this is also what happens. You get spoiled by success, and then you just have a warped perception on what it's like to operate like a normal football team. Like sometimes you have to suck for a couple years, and then it's peaks and valleys, man. It's what happens.
Is that a Janet Jackson song? What have you done for me lately?
I can't tell you that. I'm sorry.
So anyway, interesting that Belichick's friends have privately said they are worried that he is on the hot seat in 2023.
Belichick friends?
That's a great point.
I'm sorry.
By you.
Is that his son? Like who is this person, this mystery person?
Be true. He doesn't have any.
Bill O'Brien, I guess, would be his only friend.
Kyle Shanahan, on the other hand, and I think we mentioned this a couple days ago. hey, Pro Football Talk is listing the top 10 coaches. Of course, it's the time of year for that. 10 was your boy Doug Peterson. 9 was Mike Vrabel.
Interesting.
Yeah. 8 is Kyle. Wait, 8 is Kyle Shanahan?
That's way too low.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried to even make the list of, okay, if Shanahan is 8, who's in front of him? Like, we talked about this the other day. Andy Reid, sure. I mean, he belongs up there. Bill Belichick, I mean, I hope has still earned himself at least a top 5. At least the top 5 spot, please. Nick Sirianni obviously won last year. Sean McVay. Maybe Mike Tomlin, just for his continuity and success over a long period of time.
Sean McVay ahead of him because they won the Super Bowl?
I guess, but that's what I'm saying. I disagree. I'm just trying to figure out the names. Sean Payton after a long hiatus, I guess. Pete Carroll, I guess. Harbaugh, Vrabel, you said, is below him. Zach Taylor, maybe in Cincinnati. I struggled to come up with those names, and even half of those names I feel like are a stretch.
I don't know if this is fair. Obviously, it's a list, and it's designed to get us to quibble about it, but let's see. Mike Florio says his Achilles heel, talking about Shanahan, has been the quarterback position. That's why he's number 8. He could have had Patrick Mahomes, but he didn't draft him. Okay. That's a with.
Sure.
And he also says, he says they didn't scout Mahomes because they were intent on getting Cousins in free agency. So they don't scout Mahomes. They don't pick him with. Then they get nervous because they're losing so many games. Again, this is according to Mike Florio. So then they bring in Garoppolo so they don't get Kirk Cousins. And then they got Garoppolo and he wasn't good enough. And that's why they haven't won a Super Bowl yet. And that's why he's only the 8th best coach, because of his Achilles heel. The quarterback guru, greatest coordinator in the game, has a blind spot when it comes to quarterbacks.
I guess, but I don't know if that's bad enough to necessarily downgrade him all the way to 8.
He also said, I believe he says, if they'd gotten Cousins, they would have won 2 Super Bowls by now.
Sure. I don't think I disagree with that, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to kill Shanahan because what about the GM? How about John Lynch? Like, does he get
Mike Florio loves Lynch. Lynch gets these great character guys. Yeah.
John Lynch is the GM. He also didn't draft. He's actually the one who didn't draft Patrick Mahomes. He's the one who didn't.
Yeah, Shanahan actually runs the show. But you're right. Technically, you're right.
I mean, if
it's
you're doing your job, sure. Then
show.
It's. And I also hate the argument of he passed on Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes was picked 10th in the draft. Yeah. 9 other teams. It's like people saying
the Bears.
The Kings passed Kawhi Leonard. Like, yeah, so did.
No, don't bring that up. Do not bring that up.
Why not? I'm just saying it's a ridiculous thing to say.
It happens. You move on. You can't go, well, you're obviously no good at your job because you didn't draft Kawhi Leonard or you didn't draft Patrick Mahomes.
So did
I will say
amount of other
I will say the Kings weren't good at their jobs when they didn't draft Damian Lillard.
Yes, I would say that. Sure. I just
they were very unlucky. That's all.
It's I think
who fell to us?
Thomas Shanahan.
We got to take him.
He's got to be a top 5 quarterback. There's just no way you can.
Top 5 coach?
Top 5 coach. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought he did everything. Okay. I'm putting him top 5 quarterback.
I agree with you. And I think also if you look at what happened with Mahomes and it's like, you know what? He's learned from that. He's not perfect, but he's learned from that, which actually makes him a better coach. But bottom line is at some point, if you want to, rank higher, or not that he's concerned about where he ranks, but you got to win a Super Bowl.
You do,
because you've declared it in your whole franchise.
Right.
We're about winning Super Bowl.
Yes, he's got to get over the hump, and that's the only way that he's gonna quiet all the haters. Honestly,
and they have a lot of talent on the roster, in my opinion.
They do, and I think I honestly think too much has been made of this quarterback situation. They have 3 at bare minimum steady quarterbacks, and I think that's enough. Especially for Kyle Shanahan. Like, it speaks, if anything, to how good of a coach he is, especially with quarterbacks, that he doesn't really, you don't need to spend the capital on quarterback. That's what you're spending on Shanahan. Shanahan is meant to elevate your okay or decent quarterback to that of something more. And so you don't, it's almost like you're wasting Patrick Mahomes. Exactly. Yeah. You're wasting getting Patrick Mahomes because Mahomes is so great on himself. He doesn't need Shanahan. Shanahan's glory, the good thing about Shanahan is he can elevate your guys who aren't there and make them look like they're better than they are. So I don't know. That's kind of it's a little bit of an oxymoron.
I got to say the Belichick thing, I know it's ridiculous, but I get it. I mean, they have not been very good the last few years, and it's a stinking Patriots.
You know what? you could argue, you can use Bill's defense against it. Like, look, it was time to move on from Tom. I think it's also time to move on from you the same way. Like, you're great, but
the thing that really hurt him was Tom Brady getting that other Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely.
It killed him.
Absolutely right.
I mean, it's like Steph Curry getting a championship after KD leaves. It's like, okay, it's probably not a good look for our guy.
Kyle Shanahan could have had Brady too. They could have had
Could
Brady.
have, could have had Brady.
But nope, sticking with Jimmy. Coming up next, here's good news for 49er fans. If the odds makers are right, the 49ers they've already won 2 games. That's next. Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Need your Niners fix? Sactown Sports has you covered.
I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think Trey looks significantly better than he did last year. I really do. I think his confidence is there. I think that he's throwing really good passes. I mean, just watching him, he just looks so much more comfortable and confident in the pocket, and I really appreciate that from him, from all the work that he's put into it. He just looks like he's having fun, because when he's out there having a good time, it definitely brings up everyone around him.
Get all your 49ers coverage leading into the 2023 season at Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. It's Thursday. We're looking at bright sunshine. We'll have light winds today and temperatures this afternoon in the range of 97 to 100. Overnight tonight, expect lows in the low 60s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Shop Folsom Lake Kia for all your favorite models at low prices and payments, plus low finance rates and 0 down deals with approved credit. Go see my friends at Folsom Lake Kia right here in Sacramento for over 20 years.
Kelley Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offering. Instant cash offer is exactly what it sounds like. An official offer to buy or trade your car. Just enter your VIN or license plate, answer a few questions about your car's history, and what kind of condition it's in. In minutes, you'll receive an offer to sell or trade your car that you can be sure is fair. Then choose a dealer to purchase your car and schedule a time to meet. For all of the it's, KBB.com.
At Wells Fargo, if you accidentally overdraw your account, we give you an extra day grace period to avoid the overdraft fee. What if everything came with an extra day?
Sunday night and I have the Sunday scaries.
Honey, don't be scared. Every weekend comes with an extra day now.
All right. TGI Sunday.
It helps to have an extra day. When it comes to overdrafts, you can with Wells Fargo.
Visit wellsfargo.com/getextra to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Subject to timing requirements and the bank's funds availability policy. Wells Fargo Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Calling all kids. It's Kids Cheer Free all summer long. Beginning Sunday, May 28th, bring your kids ages 14 and under to the ballpark on Sunday home games for free. After cheering on your green and gold, race around the bases with Stomper on the same field that your favorite A's players do. Get your tickets now at athletics.com/kidsfree. That's athletics.com/kidsfree.
Hey kids, it's Carmichael Dave from my good friends at Fire Wings, the perfect fast casual eating establishment for the entire family. A great place to enjoy all the ball games from all around the country with 21 delicious flavors to choose from. Bone in, bone out. For more convenience, order online. Go to firewings.com, find a location near you, grab that order online and tell them Carmichael Dave sent you. Fire Wings, hey, just wing it.
Y'all ready to do it again, Sacramento? Country in the Park 2 is coming to Heart Health Park at Cal Expo Saturday, September 9th.
With Cole Swindell,
Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, and more. Plus, a mechanical pool, line dancing saloon, and all the food. Tickets start at $40 or grab your Coors Light Y'all Access passes for $125. For more info, visit SactownSports.com. Country in the Park 2, brought to you by Hoblet Dodge, E2 Family Winery, and Hyatt Vacation Club.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Make the Sacramento Rivercats part of your plans this summer. Head over to Sutter Health Park July 14th through 16th to watch your Rivercats take on the rival Oklahoma City Dodgers. This series includes the fan favorite Star Wars Night on July 15th, which features limited edition jerseys and character appearances throughout the game. Stick around post-game on Fridays and Saturdays for the brightest fireworks show in town. For tickets and a full promotions calendar, visit rivercats.com.
The Gold Rush Classic takes place July 13th and 14th in Rancho Murrieta. Come join the fun and play golf with a celebrity, or just check out the concert. The Gold Rush Classic, where the stars and guitars shine. For more info, go to goldrushclassic.org.
Sactown Sports
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlato with your Sactown Sports Headline. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting that the Boston Celtics center Kristaps Porzingis has signed a 2-year, $60 million extension with the team. Celtics acquired Porzingis in a 3-team trade that sent guard and notorious flopper Marcus Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies. The Celtics will now have Porzingis under contract through the 25-26 NBA season. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has announced its semifinal nominees for the 2024 class, and 2 former 49ers have made the list. Former Niners running back Roger Craig and former Niners head coach George Seifert will both have a chance to make it to Canton next year. For more on the possible Hall of Famers, check out Sactown Sports 49ers insider Emil Fragoso's story on SactownSports.com. Those are your headlines. Let's get back to Whitey and Watkins.
Call me crazy. I'm a big Porzingis guy.
Okay, crazy.
He had a nice year.
You're loco,
with
man.
the Wizards last year. I think he's going to fit well with the Celtics. I think he's a good player. I think Dallas was silly, if not outright stupid, for getting rid of him.
I really like Kristaps Porzingis. I loved him in New York. I just don't believe he can stay healthy. I think that's really it. He's kind of fell victim to the tall guy with lower body injuries thing. And I think when he plays, he's terrific, 21-10.
I thought that was why Dallas got rid of him.
I think so. I think it's more just they didn't want to hitch their wagon long-term to Luka and this guy who may or may not be there, especially in, deep in playoff runs. It's going to be hard to rely on him, but I think in Boston, he's a perfect fit. I mean, they still have Rob Williams. They still have Al Horford, other bigs that they can put on the floor with him because the joke has been made that he's not 7'3", he's 6'14" or something like that, where it's like he just plays
it's
like
not a funny joke.
It's
but
not funny. No, it's more just meant to point out that he plays like a guard, and he doesn't really play like a big man. And I think that's kind of been the problem with Kristaps is he's a good weak side defender, but not a terrific rim protector. Doesn't really provide anything in the paint. It really just stands on the perimeter to shoot.
All right, time for a Whitey and Watkins draft flashback.
Okay,
real quick here. 2015 draft with the first pick, Minnesota, Karl Anthony Towns. With the second pick, Lakers, D'Angelo Russell.
Oh, that is a mistake.
Third pick, 76ers, Jahlil Okafor.
I want to talk about a mistake.
With the fourth pick in the 2015 NBA draft, the New York Knicks select Kristaps Porzingis.
Boo, boo. That kid is still crying. Oh, my gosh. Wow, poor kid.
Orlando, of course, went Mario Hezonja.
Yikes.
Who I think just played in the EuroLeague championship game against Vezenkov.
Yes, he did.
I think I saw Hezonja out there. Sacramento, as we all were clamoring for them to do with sixth pick, Willie Cauley-Stein.
No thanks.
Then it went Denver Moutier 7th, Detroit Pistons Stanley Johnson 8th.
No thanks.
Hornets with a guy, I know a lot of Kings fans were hoping the Kings would take.
Former King.
Frank Kaminsky.
Training camp legend.
Yeah. Heat go Winslow.
Was not
Justice Winslow 10th. Then it went Miles Turner 11th. Trey Lyles 12th.
Oof.
Devin Booker 13.
Tough look. This draft is terrible. This draft is really, really bad. I mean, I think in a redraft, Booker probably goes 1. Towns goes 2.
Look who was 22nd.
22nd was Bobby Portis.
Yeah.
It's not bad. That's not bad for especially
Jones,
for quality
24th.
of this draft.
Yeah.
I feel like I would rather have the guys 20 to 30 than the guys 1 through 10.
Yes. With the 30th selection, the Warriors took Kevon Looney.
How about that? And then immediately after that, Jetty Osman, Montrezl Harrell.
Yes.
Why is the back end of this draft significantly better than the top end?
Rashawn Holmes at 37.
That's a great
Connaughton
pick.
at 41. Josh Richardson at 40.
Holy
Norman
crap.
Powell at 46.
The other Marcus Thornton, not our Marcus Thornton at 45. That's fine.
Yeah.
Norm Powell at 46.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the strangest draft I think I've ever seen in my life. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny when I say I would much rather have the last 15 than the first 15 of this draft.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know.
It's not a science. It's not a perfect science. This is what, 2015.
That concludes today's Whitey and Watkins draft flashback.
Welcome back.
Here's some good news for the 49ers. You know, we're the home of the 49ers now.
Yes, we are.
It looks like the 49ers ostensibly right now are 2-0.
Why is that?
Because according to the odds makers, Arizona, the team that's on the 49ers schedule twice this year, of course, Arizona is plus 225, the favorite to finish the regular season with the fewest wins.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. The Cardinals are terrible.
Bettors are overwhelmingly betting on the Cardinals to finish with the fewest wins in the league. More than half of all the money bet this offseason on the team with the fewest wins has been bet on the Cardinals. And look, let's be honest. You know, a lot of that money is coming from NFL players who know what they're talking about, right? I mean, you know, if we're being honest, wink, wink.
That's we know
what
that's a
they're
fact.
Talking about.
It's a fact. I mean, you look at the Cardinals roster, and there's really not much of anything to get excited about. I mean, I was just reading Kyler Murray's planning to miss at least the first half of the season. They're saying they're hoping that he's returned by September. So that puts your starting quarterback week 1, Colt McCoy for the Arizona Cardinals.
Hello.
And then you have, you know, your running back is going to be James Conner, he's the definition of like a solid running back. There's nothing exciting about James Conner. If you're going to take him in your fantasy draft, he's probably going to get you 10 touchdowns and 1,000 yards, but you're probably taking him in like the 8th round.
He's a former Steeler who overcame cancer, isn't
exactly,
he?
Yeah, the very same.
Big fan.
Big fan of him, but there's not much on this Arizona roster to get excited about at all, especially now that they also don't have DeAndre Hopkins, who is the only reason why their offense was even watchable. And now without him and Colt McCoy at the helm, they're probably not going to win more than 4 or 5 games.
You know, earlier we were talking about the top wide receiving duos, and they came up, but it's like, well, not anymore.
Not anymore, right? I saw that as well, actually. Rondell Moore, who, you know, is a fine third receiver. D-Hop as your best receiver, and then Marquise Brown, who's kind of been forgotten that he's in Arizona now. It's not very exciting. It's not very exciting with those two as your lead receivers.
So the Redbirds coming off a 4-13 record, and as you mentioned, Kyler Murray's status uncertain. So I don't know. I guess they're in tank mode. NFL teams, they can do it a little more surreptitiously, but I think Arizona, right? I mean, but I think Arizona clearly, with a new regime coming in, and eventually Kyler's our guy. Sure, wink, wink. So I think they're in the process of changing over, and good bet to lose a lot of games this year.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's
maybe every game.
They're not under Cliff Kingsbury anymore, and that was always helpful for the win totals. But you
never thought he was an NFL head coach.
I didn't either. I mean, he was bad in college. That was the thing that was so crazy about Cliff being hired. It was like, this guy's college record is, if I'm not mistaken, it was below 500. What makes you think that just because he can scheme up an air raid offense,
that's it,
he can coach an NFL team?
Tampa Bay, by the way, next at plus 850 to finish with the fewest wins.
Yikes.
Followed by Houston plus 900.
So people are expecting a little bit of a D'Amico Ryans bump there. I guess, you know, they also bring in CJ Stroud, but if it's not Arizona, I think Tampa Bay is the one to go. I mean, any offense led by Baker Mayfield, even though he's got Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, who made our list for the top duos of receivers. I don't think Baker Mayfield's going to be able to get them the ball much at all.
So the 49ers essentially
2-0 pretty much. Yeah,
Pretty much
2-0.
Unfortunately, so the Rams and the Seahawks.
Right.
But, that's okay.
Yeah. The Rams aren't going to be very good this year either, I don't think.
I don't think so.
A lot of rookies over there.
But you would have McVay higher on your coaches list, and I think McVay will end up higher on the Pro Football Talk list.
Yeah.
We don't know yet, but
if we're talking currently as a coach, they're pretty much the same guy, really. They really are both offensive geniuses. I guess you have to give it to McVay because he's got the Super Bowl. And I'm sorry, Kyle, but that's how these things
also
work.
Lost one too, and then made the adjustments necessary
absolutely.
to go win one.
Kyle, you got to get one. And once Kyle gets one, you can put him anywhere on the list, and you can put him at 1 if you want. You can put him at 4 if you want. But I think Kyle, once he gets that Super Bowl, he'll get all the praise.
The 49ers change defensive coordinators every year. Next year, their defensive coordinator will be Bill Belichick.
Wow. Wow.
I'm kidding.
Are you?
Yes. Or am I?
I am.
Story time with Rami's coming up. Also got the truth behind the legendary Snorkies versus Hoppers game.
Ooh.
It's all next. Whitey and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Whitey
and Watkins
on Sactown Sports. Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa, Thursdays at 6 p.m. on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa, Thursdays at 6 p.m. on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Golf is the only sport where elite athletes can compete fairly against players with less talent when both give maximum effort. The handicap system takes into account the differences in skill levels as well as the difficulty of the course to properly allocate handicap strokes to ensure as even a match as possible. Of course, it's dependent on the integrity of the players' posting scores, which has not changed since the first rudimentary attempts in the 17th century. Today, handicaps are given with 1/10 of a stroke. In the 18th century, the golfer's manual described 4 handicap options. Third one stroke every 3 holes. Half one, a stroke every 2 holes. One more, a stroke a hole, and 2 more, 2 strokes a hole. There was plenty of pre-round negotiating before settling, with many matches being won or lost on the first tee before the first ball was struck. The term handicap did not enter golf lexicon until the 1870s. The term originates from a popular pub trading game known as hand-in-cap. Post your scores and keep a handicap. It keeps the playing field level. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Hey, movie fans, the Esquire IMAX Theater in downtown Sacramento is now serving adult beverages. Playing this week, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, the IMAX experience.
None of our lives can matter more than this mission.
I don't accept that. See Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1 on the largest screen in Sacramento. Getting tickets is easy. Visit IMAX.com/Sacramento for showtimes and reserved seating. Plus, join the free IMAX Directors Club for special member pricing on tickets and concession items each time you visit the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Shop Folsom Lake Kia for all your favorite models at low prices and payments, plus low finance rates and 0 down deals with approved credit. Go see my friends at Folsom Lake Kia right here in Sacramento for over 20 years.
At your desk, on your phone, in the car.
Whitey and Watkins
on Sactown Sports.
Woo! What a show it's been, Chris Watkins. Just fingers crossed that the Kings can keep the Summer League alive. Summer League must win.
Got to keep it going
tonight against Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah. Some are saying that this is the most important summer league game that's been played by the Kings this year.
Really? This year?
Yeah. Just this year. I mean, they're summer league champs,
Rami joined us. Rami, your thoughts on that?
Oh, huge, guys. Huge. This is big.
This is why you play the game.
Yeah, you want to hang banners, man. You want to hang banners. You know what I mean?
The Trailblazers tied the Kings with the most summer league championships, so it would have been nice to get another one to.
Speaking of banners, Rami, where do you stand on this? I think we have a split decision on the show.
Yep.
If you win the in-season tournament, do you hang the banner?
No.
The in-season tournament.
No. I don't even know if you put the trophy in the trophy case. What? I don't
That's
know.
Why you have a trophy.
I don't know what this thing is.
Why are you such a hater?
What's it? I'm not a hater. You know who
okay.
You know who are the haters? The people who need this to be interested in regular season basketball. Yes. I'm a lover. Sure. I'm a lover of basketball, and I don't need some stupid in-season tournament to make me love it and watch the regular season more. I watch the regular season because I like basketball. I don't need a cup. I don't need an NBA cup. That means absolutely nothing.
I cannot wait for November when you tweet out something like, "Oh, who even watches these November basketball games? Just give me football."
No, I love watching the NBA all year. I love watching it. I don't need this.
Well, I know you're a baseball guy, especially. Yes. Before we get to story time, I wanted to wrap up something that we talked about a couple of days ago. Remember, we were talking about Chris had a story about somebody who unfortunately had one arm, and I mentioned the baseball game between.
Yes.
Yeah. I found some more details on that.
What was it? The snorkelers?
No, the Snorkies. Here's
Snorky.
Here's what we had.
My bad. How dare I?
Yeah, let's see. And this is from the Philadelphia Times, September 20th, 1887. The novel spectacle of 18 men with but 54 limbs prancing. This was what they wrote. Prancing over the diamond was enjoyed by over 500 people at the Philadelphia grounds yesterday afternoon.
Dude, those were crazy times.
When
you could even write that in a newspaper.
Prancing. The one team only has one leg, and he used the term prancing.
When the Snorkies and the Hoppers played their annual game of baseball, 2 words. Snorkies are all one-armed men, and each Hopper is minus a leg.
Called them the Hoppers. I forgot about
the 2 nines are composed mostly of employees of the Philadelphia and Reading Railroad who have lost their missing members in the performance of their duties. That's from the Philadelphia Times, September 20th, 1887. Let's see. The final score, depending on your source here, it was either 33-17 Snorkies or 34-11. So that's what, yeah.
So it was a blowout.
It's a lot of runs scored,
It's a
man.
lot of runs.
It's a lot of runs scored.
Yeah.
Does it say who won? You gave the score, but does it say
the Snorkies?
Oh, the Snorkies won.
The
and they
Snorkies.
were the one-armed
Correct.
team, right? Okay.
Correct. They were the ones prancing about the diamond with one arm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to clarify.
I don't want to
that.
get in trouble, so I'm just opt out.
This
of
happened.
all
There-
of my comments.
There are also suggestions. It even says something here about the annual game. They
I had
played.
to do the dude did the math on the limbs and wrote that.
Numbers are hard.
And wrote that in the article. I had to when you said 54, I was like, carry the
I guess
thing.
they all have
Oh yeah,
three.
that makes sense.
Yeah, apparently they may have played other games, but if they did, I guess I think the novelty wore off and nobody cared at that point. So it's kind of like the All-Star game is now.
Dude, those were crazy times.
Yeah.
Those were crazy times.
Yeah.
I've got no comment.
I'm
I just
saying.
have no comment on this.
I just wanted to,
No, you
Put a bow on
documented.
it.
It's
Yeah.
documented. You brought it up. We were like, come on, man. But it's
Yeah.
documented, and you brought receipts.
Yeah.
You brought receipts to
Thank
the
you.
table.
That brings us to Christopher Lodd's story.
We interrupt this program for an important announcement.
It's that time of the day where Christopher Lodd gives you the stories that you need to hear. Or maybe not. Story time.
Guys, this is a great lead-in to one of the Storytime stories.
Right.
This comes from
Why are you trying to
Sanford.
get us in trouble, man?
I'm not going to get us in trouble.
Okay.
This is a good story.
All right.
Happy. It ends well. It
All's
ends
well
well
that
better
ends.
than it should have.
Okay.
Than it could have,
Okay.
not should have.
All right.
Sanford, North Carolina, courtesy of WRAL. Tammy Russ cut her thumb removing an ingrown hangnail, probably something that we've all done, and it changed her life forever. Last month, after cutting her thumb, her daughter, Amber McDaniel, said that her mother's thumb began swelling, and she became so weak that she couldn't stand up and walk.
Infection.
She went to an urgent care center where they were unable to diagnose the problem. And then they took her to Central Carolina Hospital where Dr. Joy Hallmark identified the problem. Lucky for Tammy, Dr. Hallmark recently wrote a 12-page paper on the condition called necrotizing fasciitis. Fasciitis.
Yeah.
That's what Dame's got, right?
Oh, no.
No.
And that is exactly what Tammy had. Tammy was rushed into emergency surgery where she ended up having her thumb amputated. The hospital said Tammy's necrotizing fasciitis may have developed from a group A strep bacteria. There are 700 to 1,200 cases in the U.S. each year, and up to 1 in 3 people die from the infection. Tammy's daughter said there was 24 hours where she could get this surgery, and then we could have lost her. So just luckily, there was someone that was able to know what this is, diagnose it, and say, get to surgery.
Nobody, I mean, I know it's a very specific kind of infection, but nobody said this is an infection.
Oh, urgent care is like, yeah, we're stuck.
I don't know. Because the thumb, they said the thumb swelled up. It happened after she was clipping this hangnail, right? The thumb swelled up. Nobody at the hospital was like, maybe your thumb is infected. Let's look up some different kinds of infections.
They don't really go into detail. I'm guessing her thumb was a size where it's like, okay, this is obviously something, but I have no idea what it is.
So they have to send him to somebody who
Yeah.
would. Okay.
She would make a good umpire in the Snorky's Hopper. Am I out or safe? Sorry.
Bangkok, Thailand. This is courtesy of CNN.
Losing a thumb would suck, though. That's what makes, you know what I mean? That's your hand is almost
need that.
useless. Your hand is
from the
almost
monkeys,
useless
you
without
know?
it.
At that
Exactly.
point,
Yeah,
you're-
exactly. The opposable thumb is what makes us human.
Bangkok, Thailand. This is courtesy of CNN. This week in Thailand, Burger King has introduced the real cheeseburger.
Oh, yeah.
I saw this.
Sir.
So you're asking yourself, what could the real cheeseburger be from a different cheeseburger? The difference is the real cheeseburger does not have meat and is instead a bun filled with as many as 20 slices of American cheese.
I saw this.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
One person who gave the real cheeseburger a try said that they could only finish half and that it was an insane amount of cheese.
Yeah.
Another said, this burger was too intense. I am going back to the meat cheeseburger.
It's a lot of lactose, man. That's a lot. And I'm not even lactose intolerant, but that's a lot of lactose.
And here's the thing, like, I don't have a picture with, but if you've seen the picture of this, it's not like you're thinking like a grilled cheese or something.
No. They just slap 20 slices of American cheese onto a toasted bun. Yeah. No, that's too much, man.
You're
That's
from
almost
Wisconsin. You know your
yeah,
cheese,
exactly.
obviously.
That's almost like a food challenge. You know what I mean? Like, if you can finish the real cheeseburger, you get it free, and your picture up on the wall or something like that. That's crazy.
Something that me and Watkins were bringing up during the 4th of July. This would be interesting to see how many Jaws. Why can't I think of his name?
Joey Chestnut.
Joey Chestnut.
Yeah,
I should remember his name. How many could he finish in like 5
real
minutes?
cheeseburgers? That's what Burger King should do to advertise for this thing. But I saw the headline and then I kept scrolling and I saw the picture and I was like, oh, that could have been a good idea because you could take like a disc of some good cheese, not slices. No, a disc of like, I don't know, some good provolone or Havarti or something like that. And you could put it on a grill or on a griddle and sort of toast it on either side, put like some kind of sauce on that, maybe some greens or a tomato.
Okay, I'll try it.
Now you have like a real cheeseburger where the cheese is the patty, but just slapping 20, 25 pieces of American cheese
You gotta have a
onto
burger.
a bun.
If it's a cheeseburger, there has to be some.
That's my
semblance
question.
of a
I don't
burger
want to turn
or
this
it's a
into
cheese sandwich.
is a hot dog a sandwich conversation, but is this a burger if there's no?
It's a gimmicky name. I get it.
Grilled cheese.
I get it.
It's a glorified grilled cheese.
In England, they don't have chicken sandwiches; they have chicken burgers. Like you go to Popeyes and grab a chicken burger.
That's great. That's right. Yeah, we do. We do. That's correct.
With some chips.
Glad we got our independence from those guys.
Chris Watkins, you're right.
Really.
If you don't have a burger, it's not a burger.
I'm not arguing that.
Not going to do the hot dog
as
as a
It's just a
sandwich
gimmicky name, you know. Which I get why it would get under your skin.
All right.
Only in the UK.
It's in Thailand, right?
Thailand.
Yeah, that's in Thailand.
Yeah. What do you have coming up today? And who is your special guest host today?
Well, you guys saw my special. He walked in, and then the boss was like, "Hey, let me talk to you real quick." And he walked out. It was Kenny Thomas, former King and NBC Sports California's very own Kenny Thomas will be here with me this afternoon. So lots of NBA and Kings talk. But we'll mix it up. We'll mix in some 49ers. Ramona Shelburne, ESPN will be here to talk some NBA at 4:30. So it's gonna be a fun afternoon with Kenny and me.
All right, Rami and KT are next right here on Sactown Sports.
The Kings are running it back.
Hammers it off the dribble against Gobert, and he was fouled. Oh, my.